Hi, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of the Lazy Vagabonds podcast with me, Jordan.
And me, Dan.
So, in today's episode, we are going to get into our very own travel journey, which was in Australia. So, this is going to be a two-parter, most likely, and we'll start with kind of, our journey there and just what we got up to, really. So,
By two-parter, he means two-parter on Melbourne. He doesn't mean Australia.
yeah,
Because he didn't say Melbourne there.
Sorry, yeah, two parts on Melbourne because we spent like 6 months there in total. So to talk about that in one podcast episode we'll be sprinting through it, and I want to kind of convey all of the different experiences we had in a decent way for you. So anyway, but I think to begin with, we'll just kind of explain how we felt when we first left, because we were saving up for maybe 18 months before we left.
Yeah, we were saving up for 6 or 7 months.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We decided to leave university 18 months before we
left.
Yeah.
We
were like...
We lived together for a year without saving.
Yes. Yeah, we just kind of went out a lot. But anyway, that's besides the point. We saved for 18 months, and the time finally came. We booked our visas, we booked our plane tickets, and the day arrived, the day for us to actually get on the plane and leave. And I'll let you... How were you feeling first, Dan, when we were leaving finally? Explain that feeling.
Well, it was... So obviously for me, I came up to London and stayed at yours. So I came up the day before.
Yeah.
So travelling up was sort of like a fairly relaxed feeling, getting there, seeing you. We hadn't seen each other for a while, so it was cool sort of being like, oh, hey, we leave soon. And then, obviously, our plane wasn't until the evening on the day that we left. It was at night, because I remember your dad dropping us off and the sky got dark when we went into customs. So sort of waking up on the morning, there was so long sort of until we left that I'd say it didn't dawn on me until sort of actually going to customs once your dad had left, because then it was kind of like...
It's just us at that point.
Stood there with your little suitcase and it's like, okay, here we go. I'm going now. And then the feeling more than anything was, I'd say, an equal measure of nervousness and excitement. There was a lot of, okay, well, I'm fucking doing this now.
It's like the point of no return.
Yeah, like once I was through the customs and sat waiting for the plane, it's kind of like, well, this is a thing now. This isn't... I'm not going to turn back at this point. Because obviously, once you buy the tickets, it's sort of, for a day or two, you're like, fuck me, I'm going. And then you've got however long until you leave, so that feeling goes away again. And I don't think that feeling returns until you go through customs. And then it's like, okay, now I'm legitimately fucking going.
I think it kind of gets real, like when your gate gets called and you kind of walk towards the gate and you see like the aeroplane out of the little windows as you go into the terminal. I think when you kind of see it, and just like, that's the plane that's going to take me to Australia now. That's kind of when it kicked in for me. It's just like, oh shit, okay, here we go, Yeah. All before that, it was kind of in the back of your mind, like, I know I'm going, but it just didn't feel that real. But yeah, going through customs, definitely, because... I don't know. I love the feeling that you get at airports. It's just because everyone's really happy. They're all going or coming back, so they feel pretty shit. But going to holidays and stuff, so everyone's really happy. I don't really see many people at airports in shit moods. But
I think one thing that I noticed as well, sort of not the first time it was our first time leaving properly for an extended period of time. So you could probably feel the excitement coming off of us and the nervousness. But I noticed sort of, and this is jumping ahead, but I noticed further along in my timeline of traveling, whenever I got airplanes further along, there was much more of a relaxed sort of... I think you can tell when I look at a queue of people now, you can tell which ones are travellers, because they're just sort of stood there more lazily, kind of like, oh, just get me on the plane.
Yeah. kind of by the same token, I feel like you can tell when someone's a first-time traveller as well, because they'll have that kind of buzzed feeling that, that we had, like, just massive grins on their face, like, oh my God, and kind of like looking at each other, just like, oh my God, we're actually going, like, this is the first time we're going to, like you said, be away for a long period of time.
And, like, the other thing was, that feeling was there up until I boarded the plane. And then I remember for the first couple of hours of the actual journey, there was definitely still that feeling, and we were sort of getting the free beers on the plane.
Definitely.
But then past the first 2 hours, and you're sat there, and at that stage, you kind of realise, I've got 25 more hours to go. You're kind of like,
yeah. I mean,
and then you can't sleep, and then sort of by about the 10th hour of not being able to sleep, you're kind of like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, your eyes are like stinging so much, and then you're just like, and then I was thinking in my head, if I just like have enough beers, maybe I'll pass out. But they wouldn't. It just wouldn't happen. It's just like you just sat there kind of pissed and just like, wow, great.
Yeah. And like, no. I mean, obviously it worked for some people. There was an Asian woman who fell asleep immediately,
and my God, after 10 seconds.
Aside, and she was just laying on me for that plane journey. But for me at least, the eye masks fuck you up more. Like, eye masks are fucking terrible, I think. Like, my eyes always feel more sore, and also it pushes on your face, I felt. So, like, my nose would be like pushed down a little bit by the little nose flap thing, and I'm kind of like, isn't this meant to help my nose?
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck is this pushing my nose?
Well, obviously you say I've got a big nose, and like when I've got like the eye mask on my nose, I've just got two little gaps of sunlight coming in. It doesn't work at all, so it's pointless me using them.
Yeah, man.
But so what was it? 27-hour flight for us. We stopped off in Jakarta for a little bit, but nothing happened. It was just like a 5-hour layover.
Did we stop off? No, we stopped off the once on.
Yeah, it was just in Jakarta. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really to say about it. We stopped off and we got a cup of coffee, which costed 50 billion of their money.
Yeah.
So,
when I paid for the coffee, I remember thinking to myself, when I was paying for it, the number was thrown at me by whoever the fuck was serving me. I don't remember who it was, but I just thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna pay you, but I really don't know how much you mean. I'm not sure if this is like a $50 coffee right now.
Yeah.
Like,
you just kind of have to go with it.
But then we looked it up, and it was actually, I think it was like £3. I think it was like average reasonable. UK prices in a sense. Yeah. But
crazy when you think of it, because when you think of like Asia and stuff, you think cheap stuff, and it's just like £3 for a coffee.
The one thing I did notice now that I think about it, getting to Indonesia when it was the crossover, was I remember getting off the plane and just feeling the wall of indoor heat, like, fuck.
Your legs as well, man. Your legs are, because you've been, 16, 17 hours we were sat down for. Your legs are so messed up, man. You can barely walk. Everyone's like waddling around like penguins.
Yeah.
So I think, it was like 16, 17 hours to get to Jakarta, a 5-hour layover, and then like another 10 hours to get to Melbourne.
Yeah.
And we got to Melbourne, and we got through customs, and something no one told us. I always thought it myself personally, that you have to get like your visas, like a stamp in your passport. But with me and Dan, we both got through customs, and we were kind of just standing there, and we're like, shouldn't we have got a stamp somewhere? And just like, we were both kind of standing by the exit, like, I don't think we should leave yet. I think we should ask someone about our visas just in case we get stopped.
Yeah.
Like, whilst we're in the country and we're fucked.
Yeah.
So we went over to like these tourist information.
People.
Yeah. We went over to them and we asked them. We were just like, no one stamped our passport yet, and they just kind of looked at us like we're proper morons. And they just looked at us. It's all done electronically now. Just don't worry. As soon as you scan your passport, that's it. Your visa's been granted. Like, that's day one of your year visa.
Yeah.
So that's the only issue
actually.
that we had.
I found it annoying. I wanted my stamp.
Yeah, so that's it. I want my whole passport filled with stamps of just different places. It's like exciting when you get it.
It was one of those. I was like, yes, gonna get my first stamp. Like since getting my new passport, and then no stamp.
Yeah. I've only ever had a stamp for one country, and that was when I went to Bulgaria before it was in the EU.
Well, see, when I went to Asia, every one of the Asian countries that we went to, like all of those were stamping countries.
Yeah, so stamping your visa and that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the only issue that we had in the airport, to be honest. We managed to find the Sky Bus pretty easily to get into Melbourne.
It was directly outside.
Yeah.
So, we sort of...
That's like the first...
I was going to say, the first thing that sort of... I remember going outside, and then the sky's cloudy. And I remember the temperature was about 20 degrees, and then I saw a seagull. And I was just kind of like, sweet, England.
Yeah, literally, it's like, have we just done a massive circle and landed back in London? What is going on?
Yeah, it wasn't... when I first got to Australia, it just felt like English weather with English birds. And it was fine. I was kind of like, okay, I haven't got my stamp. I'm tired.
It was
fucking seagulls flying around, and it's cold.
Yeah, I would say the first impression was quite underwhelming when we went out. I was expecting it to be like, I don't know, just like some paradise. Like you go outside, it's like Australia.
Like oh my god, kangaroo bouncing.
Yeah, exactly. You've got some guy with one of those hats with the freaking corkscrews on it, just like, "Good day, mate."
Dundee.
"Good day, mate. Do you want to get a taxi?"
Yeah,
that's my Australian accent for anyone who's a bit worried.
But so we got the Sky Bus. We got it to the train station Southern Cross, which is where we booked our first hostel by.
Yeah.
And we came out of the train station, and literally, for anyone listening, the hostel's across the road and a little bit down. And we actually went down from the train station with our bags and were outside the hostel, just on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
But for
literally like 2 minutes away.
We didn't see it. I don't know why we didn't, but we didn't. So our next plan of action, after realising we couldn't find the hostel, was like, I guess we'll go get beers then.
Yeah. Literally, we just walked to the nearest bar, dumped our bags on the ground, and just thought, fuck it, let's go inside and get a beer.
Yeah.
And then I think that was our first kind of experience of Australian alcohol. Like, yeah, it's like Australian beer sizes. Because they, like, you know, when you're from England, you have your pints, and that's it, really. You're just, can I have a pint of beer? And so we went in there, and we were just like, can I have a pint of beer, please? And then, like, they're chucking all these names out at us. I think we went for Carlton Draft in the end, which for anyone who goes to Australia,
that's your fault.
That's like your cheap tap beer. It's like Carlton Draft every time, or sometimes you'll get. It doesn't matter.
Also, for anyone listening who would think, because I said it's your Foster's not an Australian thing.
Yeah, it's literally no one nowhere sells Foster's. It's just a thing that people say is Australian. Literally, can't buy it in any shops, can't buy it in any pubs. Yeah. Foster's just ain't a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, we went and we got a beer, and we kind of took that time to actually research where our hostel actually was. For anyone wondering, it was All Nations hostel. And the thing is, if you ever actually decide to go there, you'll realise how stupid we were and how close it actually is to Southern Cross Station.
So there's a 7-Eleven on the corner, and it's right by the 7-Eleven.
I'm pretty sure at one point we were standing at 7-Eleven.
Yeah. Yeah. To be fair, though, I remember when I realised it was a hostel, at least looking from it outside, from the front, it kind of looks like a redundant building.
Yeah. From the outside, it does not look nice.
No,
I think
the wall's old and quite decrepit, and
it's probably changed now. I think they changed it quite a lot in the end. But like you said, you went back.
Not the outside. They changed.
Oh, the outside. Yeah. But yeah, I think the way that we found it in the end was because of the travel shop that was next to it. We just kind of was like, oh, there's a travel shop. And then we looked up and there's a sign for All Nations. Like, oh, fuck, there's a hostel.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, we got to a hostel and, we went in and I think, didn't they say that we couldn't check in until 2? So we just had to kind of dump our bags. Yeah. Yeah, most hostels that you go to, you can't check in until 2, but you have to check out at 10. So you got a big layover period between checking into a new hostel, which sucks. Really sucks.
We used to go to parks and crap.
Yeah, we kind of chill out for 4 or 5 hours. But so we just decided to drop our bags off in the locker room and just go for another pint. I think, did we go to the U-Bar?
Yeah, so when we got to the hostel, we checked our bags into the bag room and they said if you go down to the travel shop, they give you a card for a free drink. So we got the free drink. We were like, yeah, cool, we'll go for the drink. Went into U-Bar, which is a hostel bar. By the way, this is our first experience in a hostel. So we're kind of buzzing. We're kind of like, oh, cool. We're going to meet some travellers. We're going to have some cool times. So we go in a hostel bar and there is no one in the hostel bar. So we get our drink and we sort of go to the smoking area. And whilst we're there, we meet this Australian guy. And I don't remember his name.
No, I was trying to think of it, man. I can't remember his name at all.
But he's an older, sort of larger Australian guy. Probably in his 40s, I'd say.
Yeah, easily in his 40s.
But,
and so we met him in the smoking area and we kind of got talking to him and we mentioned to him that it was our first day, literally our first day in Australia, first few hours really.
Yeah.
And he was just saying to us, oh my God, like I need to show you around Melbourne and I want to take you to all of the best bars and stuff. I want to show you everything. And to me and Dan, we're just like, oh my God, let's do it, man. Like,
yeah,
so we were just like,
this sounds great.
Yeah, and, like, bear in mind, we're still in the clothes that we travelled with for 27 hours. So we just said to the dude, we were just like, just let us go and get changed quick, have a quick shower. We'll come back and then we can just go out. And the guy was like, yeah, cool. So we got changed, blah, 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 had showers. Came back down, and the guy's still there. And he's just like, get yourself another drink. I'll finish my one, and then I'm going to take you to the casino. And we're just thinking, oh, sweet. And he's telling us that this casino is like the biggest casino in the whole of Australia. I think he said like it's got like over, 100 miles of corridors or some crazy statistic. And so I'm like pretty pumped for it. I've never been in a casino in my life, to be honest, let alone a huge one. And so we kind of did that. And we got outside and he's like, oh, we'll get a taxi. We'll get a taxi to the casino. And me and Dan are thinking, Jesus Christ, how far away is this thing?
Yeah.
and we're just like, oh no, it's up the road, it's just over the bridge. And we're just like, oh, we can walk that, it's not too bad. And then the guy's like, oh no, we'll get a taxi. What are you saying? I was
going to say, bearing in mind from where we are, which is outside the hostel again, you can see the bridge.
Yeah, literally.
You can see the river and the bridge. It's like right there. It's bridge like about 20 minutes away.
So that's what he's saying. When he said over the bridge, we're just thinking it can't be that far. We'll walk it. Like even if it takes like half an hour to walk, we've just been on a plane. I want to stretch my legs.
5-minute walk.
Yeah, and literally like not even 5 minutes. Like 2 minutes later, we're at the freaking casino. Cross the bridge. Casino's right there. We're going over the bridge, and I'm thinking that can't be the casino there. Surely, why would he get a taxi there? Just literally to go over a tiny bridge.
Yeah.
But we go in there. And then I remember actually, it's like he was really trying to show off to us. He was like going up to the casino tables. He's like, "Boys, I don't play the low stakes tables." And just pulls out $100 and just like slams it on chips and just puts all of it on go.
I forgot that. He put it all on a number or something.
Yeah. I think it was either blackjack or some number game he was playing. And he's just like, "Oh, all the Chinese boys play this one. I'm the only one who knows how to play this game as well as the Chinese people." Yeah. He's like slamming money down on it. He loses like $500 in like 2 minutes.
It was very easy. Like, so it was worth spending this time with him because he actually, the whole time we were with him, he bought all of our drinks.
Yeah.
But very quickly you could tell that this guy had a little something wrong with him in the way that he was splashing the cash. Like, he wanted to seem important to us.
Yeah, it was.
For
I
whatever
forget.
reason.
It was. We got to the.
It was the casino bar outside.
Yeah. We got to the casino bar, and what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, we were looking down at the river, and it's a really nice view from there, to be fair. The drinks were expensive, if I remember correctly. I think
like
it was
$15.
Yeah,
$15 for a pint.
But we were looking down on the river, and it's actually sunnier now. It's warmer. It's nicer. We're feeling kind of like, okay, Australia, here we go. And we look down, and they have helicopters on the river. It's called the Yarra River, for anyone interested. And they have helicopters there, and basically the guide tells us that you can pay for a helicopter ride, and it takes you over the city, and it shows you like a bird's eye view. And he's just like, boys, do you want to go up in the helicopter? And we're just sat there like, what? And he's like, yeah, you want to go up? And we're like, nah, you can't do that, mate. He's like, no bother. You want to go up in the helicopter? And we were like, I mean, it's your money, bro, if you want. So he rings the helicopter number, and then he puts his phone down. He goes, sorry, boys, they want like $200 for it. And, you know, I've got money, but I'm not going to pay that for a helicopter.
It is at that point, it's just like, okay, mate, you're full of shit, really, aren't you? Because he was also saying that he knows the guy that owns it or something. I'm pretty sure he was saying something. He's got like a boy on the inside that he's going to ring up and get some good deals.
Yeah.
And I just remembered now, actually, another story he was telling us. Do you remember he was telling us about how he rented out the penthouse in the Crown Hotel? And he pulled some birds and took them back to the penthouse suite, which cost like $2,000 for one night. Yeah. And he's just, oh my God. The guy was...
He was a fronter. But great still, because...
Yeah, he was a great...
The more he fronted, the better for us, you know. Yeah. But he was definitely someone who spoke a big game. Yeah.
To be honest, he was a good tour guide. He showed us around the city when we knew nothing.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, he showed us a few bars. Yeah. But when we left the casino anyway, we went down onto the river, and there's a bar on the river by a bridge, and you go down, and there's this bar that's on the river, and we went down there. And when we went down there, we got a round of drinks again, and there were two girls that we met there. And so me and Jordan get talking to these two girls, and sort of we're hitting it off with them. And then our tour guide, Chris, I think his name was Chris.
His name was Chris. Chris.
So Chris, the Aussie tour guide, he comes over. And I don't know what happened. He must have noticed we now have females. Because he comes over with 2 bottles of champagne and, like, puts them there. And he's like, he opens the bottle, pours it in all of our glasses. We're having drinks. We're chatting to the girls. And I remember at one point he goes, I'm buying everyone drinks and the girls aren't even talking to me, kind of a thing. And like he started getting fucked off.
He did. He started getting real pissed off.
At that stage, we were kind of getting more drunk and we were talking to these girls. So me and Jordan were kind of more or less, we were done with Chris by that point. Chris had served his purpose.
He was a good tour guide, like I said.
Chris had served his purpose. Chris was getting a bit too angry in the corner. So
we kind of had to ditch him.
We were like, all right, we got to get rid of Chris now.
Yeah, he was cramping our style at that point. He was just sitting in the corner brooding. It's just like, all right, Chris, mate. You go back to your helicopter.
What do we say to people? It's like, yeah, this is our 50-year-old guy we met today who's...
Honestly, it's not his age and that didn't really bother me. It's just the way that he was sitting in the corner moping. Like, you're really bringing a downer on it.
It was as if he thought... Like we've already said, he was a flasher. So he sort of, because he bought these drinks, I think he was expecting to go to his $2,000 penthouse with the girls. But
I think that it might have been at that point when he started talking about his little penthouse expedition. But he was funny dude, really funny dude.
The night sort of. This night didn't lead to many places. We were just with the girls, had a few more drinks. And I remember the next day waking up and So when we first got there and we had time to kill, we decided to go and sort out phones. This is something that happens to me very often for the rest of this story, breaking and losing. But yeah, so I got a phone for that day, went out, went to this bar. Next day rolls round, I wake up not remembering really going back, and I now don't have a phone. So yeah, day one, bought a phone, lost a phone. Nice.
Yeah, literally within about 6 hours.
Yeah, very sick indeed.
It's quite funny as well because you and one of the girls that we were with both lost your phone at the same freaking place. But luckily for her, she managed to get her phone back. But you didn't. You weren't so lucky.
No, but that sort of wraps up our first.
Actually, no, it doesn't. Does it? No, it does. Yeah, it does. Never mind. I was just gonna say, is that the point where you went to bed and then I came back after we found her phone and I met Dom in that? Isn't that that night?
I don't know if that was the second day or not.
Anyway, we'll get onto that story.
You can tell that story if you want.
Well, no, because no, actually, what happened is our first week there, we were quite isolated. We didn't really speak to many people because the first vibe that we got off of that hostel was that it was really dead because we went down to the U-Bar quite a lot and there was no one ever there. And we go into the kitchen, no one was ever there. And we're just sitting there thinking to ourselves, like, this hostel's really shit. Like, no one's ever here. We just got to Australia. We want like a party hostel where we can go and enjoy ourselves.
But the realistic side to this was I don't think that's how it was. I
think it definitely wasn't like that.
It was just a case of we weren't talking to anyone. We were just sort of going and exploring and then coming back and sitting in our room and only really talking to the people who were in our room.
Yeah.
And the first friend we made was a Belgian girl in our room, but the problem with that was she was in her last few days before leaving. So we made friends with her and sort of hung out with her, but then when she left, because that was the only person we'd really hung out with, it was kind of like, okay, now we have no friends.
It's in that first week that we were in Australia and not really speaking to anyone, which again was completely our fault for not actually engaging anyone. But we did do some cool. Yeah, we did do some cool things. We went to the botanical gardens in Melbourne, which for anyone who loves kind of nature and flowers and stuff is really, really beautiful. Like there's so many different things, and the funny thing is when me and Dan went, like they've all got their normal names and then they've got their Latin names. And then literally every single one of them looks like some freaking wizard spell from Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was funny. That was cool.
Yeah, we were just like wandering around and just like fucking saying flower names at each other.
Yeah.
Like Expecto Patronum. But yeah, we also went to the aquarium, which was really cool.
Like, yeah.
I really enjoyed that, man. We got some really cool pictures from there. And there's
Keep going.
I was going to say, there's like a little penguin bit at the end, which I really didn't expect to see penguins there. It's just like, because I remember going past and it was like, oh, there's the penguin area. And I was like, oh, I'm guessing that's just like some gift shop or something. And you was like, and then I remember you saying, oh, no, there's probably penguins there. And I'm like, fuck off, there's not going to be penguins here. It's an aquarium. It's just got like little sharks and shit.
Things that are in the water.
Yeah. And then I just don't, for some reason, I don't expect penguins to be in aquariums. I just think penguins don't belong in aquariums. I don't know why. It's just like if I saw, I don't know, no, because I was going to say if I saw like a seal or something in an aquarium, I'd be like, well, you don't belong here, but they do belong in the water. I always imagine it being like swimming pool fish, like fish that always stay in the water.
Yeah. Well, anyway. But
yeah. Anyway, we're on over.
I think the other thing that we done, which was one of the first mistakes we've made. I say one of the first mistakes we've made. It was one of the bigger mistakes.
Probably the biggest mistake we made.
I don't know. There's another one that will come up later that was pretty big. But I made a lot of them actually. I thought of at least another two already. But yeah, so basically on the second day we're hungover and we go down to the travel shop and we buy tickets to go do the East Coast and go do the Great Barrier Reef and go do the Whitsunday Islands and all of these different things that Australia is known for. And long story short, we never actually ended up doing any of these things. We just, but we get to that way further down the line in how we actually found out that we wouldn't do those. But we bought them because we were planning, whilst we had money, to sort of go and explore, and then once we were done with the exploring, we'd stay in a city and we'd work. And that was sort of our initial plan. And so we bought these tickets and everything. And then that was around the same time that we were like, we weren't really talking to anyone, which was our own fault. What I'll say to anyone listening is all you really have to do, literally, and this is the trick, all you have to do is go sit down in the kitchen, turn to your left or right based on who's on your table, and say, "Hi, I'm Dan. Where are you from?"
Yeah,
you're probably within 10 minutes of that conversation starting to have a friend. Main reason being everyone else there, unless there's someone really pretentious and weird, which there's a few of, but not too many. For the most part, anyone you talk to is in the same boat as you. So if you just have the balls to say hello, they will say hello back. And after half an hour or so, you'll probably be good enough friends with them. From that point onwards, whenever you see them in the hostel, at the very least, you'll be able to have a conversation with them. And it will grow further than that as time goes along, as we found out. Part of the reason that we really ended up not making use of those tickets was because by the end of the first week, despite the fact we'd felt isolated and we were considering leaving the hostel, the day that we'd spoken to each other and said maybe we should leave, that very night is when we ended up actually making a lot of the friends that we made in Melbourne that made us stay and made us not leave.
It's funny how that happens. It's just like when we're literally going to move hostel that day, and then a guy that I met a couple of days back, his name was Dom, which is like quite a funny story. I think it happened the same night that we met those two girls for the first time. Dan went back home, and this girl, she needed to get her phone because she lost it. And I said to Dan, just wait in the bar, have a drink. We'll be back in like 20, 25 minutes. We're just going to go get our phone. And so we got our phone, we came back, and we were a bit longer than half an hour. And then Dan decided that he was going to go to bed. And this girl, she went home, and I was on my own. And then I saw this guy who was outside of the hostel, and I said to him, "Is the bar shutting?" And he's like, "Yeah, the bar's shutting, but I'm about to go to this place called the Red Lion, which is in town." And he was just like, "Oh, you can come if you want." And I just thought, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll go with him." So me and him, name's Jacob, cool dude. But we decided to go into town, and we ended up in this bar. And I was talking to him as well, and I was saying like there's like no one in the hostel, and he was just saying no, there is. It's just they're always out with each other because everyone's made this group of friends, so they're always out doing stuff, so they're never really in the hostel.
Yeah.
And so I went to the bar, and I met pretty much everyone who would be in our massive group of friends that we eventually meet. But I didn't know them at this point, so I'm just kind of with Jacob, just talking to him and kind of introducing myself around. I get really fucking drunk. And then the time came to go home, and I ended up in McDonald's with Jacob and this guy called Dom. And it's one of the most surreal experiences ever for me. It was, at this point, I thought Dom was Australian. Turns out he was English. But Dom and this Australian guy were arguing over like a Big Mac meal. And I'm sitting there, I was thinking, like, what's going on? And Dom was saying that it was his food, and this guy was saying it's my food, and they were both like swearing at each other. And then at one point, Dom said to him, "I'm English, you should listen to me." And then the other guy was saying, "No, I'm English, I know the Queen." And I'm just sitting there thinking, you're both fucking Australian, what are you talking about? And like this argument goes on for about 10 minutes, and I was just like standing there, just like, what? And eventually Jacob kind of runs in, goes up to this other guy, and just like slaps the Big Mac out of his hand onto the floor, and that's when like the tension really grew, and I'm just sitting down on the chair eating my chips, just fucking watching this stuff like go down, and eventually the guy orders himself some more food, and he's going with it. He's about to leave the restaurant, and Jacob runs up to him and slaps the bag out of his hand onto the floor and just goes, "Eat your fucking food off the floor like a dog." And at that point, it's all systems go. The guy runs in, swings a punch at Dom, knocks his tooth out, and
chips it.
Sorry, chips his tooth, and it's a big chip as well. And then Jacob kind of just like takes him down, and like that's kind of the end of it at that point, because everyone kind of jumps on, so everyone's like jumping into the fight, and people are grabbing people out, and. Yeah, it was just one of the strangest moments ever in a McDonald's that I've ever experienced. We left McDonald's, and Dom was kind of like smiling at me, going, "Is my teeth chipped? It's chipped, isn't it? Is my tooth chipped?" I was just kind of looking at it. I was quite drunk. I was like, "No, it looks fine, man. It's all good. You look great." And then like the next morning, which is skipping back now. The next morning, when we said we were going to leave this hostel, Dom comes into the room and was saying about this kind of U-bar.
No, we were in the TV room, weren't we?
Yeah. We were in the TV room chilling out, and then Dom, the guy with the chipped tooth, comes in and is saying about how they've got this Magic Monday, which is an event in U-bar, and it's like basically just a male stripper comes, and it's just a really, really popular night in Melbourne for travellers in hostels. And then at that point, it kind of clocked to me that was the guy that chipped his tooth. And I just went, "Do you remember who I am?" And he just looked at me. He's like, "No." I was like, do you remember McDonald's yesterday? He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I was there when you got your tooth chipped." He's like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I remember you. And then we just kind of bonded over that, about him getting punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You've got to come to U-Bar. You boys have to. I'm not letting you not come to U-Bar." And I was just like, and then at that point, we were just like, "Fuck it. Should we just give it another week and see where this goes at the hostel?"
Because no, that didn't happen. I swear we went to Urban Central within 3 days of that. Because all the others were moving to Urban Central as well. But we'll get into this. You tell the story of that night. Because the next day we went to the pool bar at Urban Central with Colin and Manny and that after going to the park. And then they were like, "Yeah, we're going to move here because it's a better place to chill." And then we moved. But
yeah, fair enough. I thought that we stayed there a while longer, my bad. So yeah, anyway, so the night kind of came around and we decided to go check out this Magic Monday thing. We had a few pre-drinks beforehand. Then we went down and we kind of met Dom down there, and we kind of knew a few people at this point because Dom was introducing us. He was like introducing me to the group, and then I kind of remembered some people that I met the day before in the Red Lion. Ricardo was one of them.
Ricardo got thrown out.
He got thrown out that night because of some situation that was happening.
Bearing in mind, if you're listening to this, you've got no fucking clue who Ricardo is.
He's just some crazy.
He's someone we end up living with.
Yeah,
later.
really good, mate.
Our first time meeting him was him coming in, shaking hands with a few people, and then bouncers picking him up and taking him away.
Yeah, I think they literally did pick him up and escort him out, and I was just looking to myself. I was like, what an idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I remember seeing him the night before, and I thought he was Spanish the first time I met him. I thought he's this kite.
The first time I met him, like when we had gone to Urban Central, it was kind of like, I just thought he was quiet. I was kind of like, he doesn't speak much. He seems alright. But and then the first time I did speak to him properly, and the first time I hung out with him properly, instantly I was kind of like, okay,
yes, this is my guy.
This is us. This is a bit of us right here.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I remember I was outside talking to someone. I think I was talking to you outside. And Dom comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, the lap dance competition's about to start. You're putting your name down, aren't you?" And I was just like, "Fuck no, I'm not." And then he's like, "Oh no, do it. It'll be a laugh. If you win, you get $100 bar tab." And in my drunk head, I'm just thinking, oh, $100, I could get a lot of beer with that. So at this point, I'm just kind of not thinking about what the lap dance competition actually entails. I'm just like, yeah, go on then, Dom. Yeah, I'll do it. And he's like, oh, yes, you're going to win, man. You're going to win. I was like, oh, okay. $100 bar tab, pretty sweet. And then it gets to time of actually doing this strip lap dance competition. And they call all the guys in, and I'm not really that drunk at this point. So I just run to the bar quickly, down, like, buy 2 pints and just literally chug them. And they get, like, me and, like, 6 different people to go into the toilets. And then there was this kind of male stripper who was in there, and he was, like, prepping us. He's like, all right, boys, this is a lap dance competition. This is the rules. This is what's going down. It's like, oh, my God, what is going on? And he's kind of, like, giving us little tips on some moves and stuff to pull off on the girls. It's like, one of the moves is, like, because basically what happens is they get a girl from the audience, get her to sit down on a chair, and you just got to give her a lap dance. And so the guy was just like, oh, here's some classic moves that you boys want to do. What you want to do first is you want to kind of walk around them and touch them on their neck, and then grab one of their legs and pick it up and then grind on them. And I'm just thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, man. I really got to do all of this stuff now. And there was a girl went first, and I remember there wasn't many people cheering for her. I was just thinking, fuck me, if a girl's not doing well on, like, lap dancing on another girl, I'm going to be fucked. And I was the last person. I was the last person to go. And everyone that went at this point, and, like, the guy before me just got this massive cheer. And I'm thinking, holy shit, man, I've got to go after this guy. I walk out, and my lap dance was really tame. Like, I didn't really remove any clothes because, I don't know, man, I'm just not into that kind of stuff. And like lap dancing in front of 100 people, I'm not into that kind of stuff.
I mean, so you're the average human.
Yeah, I'm not very boisterous when it comes to removing clothes in public. So yeah, I do my lap dance, and then they kind of come up, and it gets to the final 2 people, and I'm in the final 2, me and the guy who went before me, who got this massive cheer. And I'm just thinking to myself, he wasn't like a freaking model looking dude. So I'm wondering, why the fuck did he get such a big cheer? What is going on? And, like, they're just like, oh, if you want Jordan to win, cheer for him. And I got like a decent cheer. And then they were just like, oh, if you want blah blah to win, cheer for him. And then everyone just went fucking mental. Just like, I'm picturing, man, what did he do that was so crazy that everyone's cheering for him? And he was just like, he just turned to me and said, oh, it's okay, man, I'll get you a jug of beer, you know, just because we all did this competition, so fuck it. Yeah. We've all got, like, balls, so I'll buy you a beer. And I went up to the bar, and then I asked him, I was like, what exactly did you do? And then I don't know, it's probably better for you to explain this part because you were actually there to witness it. I was still in the toilet at this point.
Yeah. But bear in mind, I don't remember it too well. As you'll find out when we get into the nightlife section of this, U-Bar is like...
messy.
U-Bar's the messy bar where I get fucked. But basically, the guy that went before Jordan, what he done is at one stage of the dance, he had a hat and he put it down over his dick. And then when it came to the end of his thing and he removed his hat and placed it back on his head, his dick was out. And he had a fairly big dick. Like, you know, he was doing all right for himself, putting it that way. So
yeah, that's
the majority of the people there are girls. I mean, obviously, the guys are all male strippers, right? So there's a lot of girls there that are looking to see some cock, probably. Like, that's why they're there.
I think there's a big reason why they're there.
The fact that a guy got his dick out was like, yeah, you win. Nice.
Pretty much. Thanks. The fact that it was of a healthy size.
Out in a way.
It's just like my evening has been completed now. Thank you very much.
Because I came for dick, he gave me dick, you win.
I think that's pretty much how it went. And then once I heard that, I was just like, I just accepted the fact that I didn't win. I was just like, yeah, I'm not getting my dick out. Like, no, thank you.
John was just sat there like, I didn't take my hoodie off.
Yeah, I didn't even take my t-shirt off. I didn't take nothing off. Didn't even take a shoe off.
Yeah.
But,
so that was just the general first night meeting everyone. I remember the next day we sort of wandered over to the park because Dom told us that's where everyone was. And that's when we met a few others in the group. Like, that's the first time I remember meeting Manny and Colin and that properly.
Yeah, that was kind of our first introduction to our group that we spent
main group
forever with.
But so we meet all the guys at the park there, and that's cool. And then I think we're still at All Nations for a few more days, and we go to a beer pong tournament, and we go to play pool in this other hostel called Urban Central. And basically, everyone decides that we should move there because it's just got a nice big chilled area with a big bar. And we're like, our group's pretty big. This is the perfect place that all of us can fit and we'll all be good here. So we decide, because everyone else said they're going to move there, and me and Jordan have like a day left and we need to rebook. We're like, fuck it, we'll just move the day before everyone else. We're just going over there now. So we change the plans and we decide to book Urban Central and we go over there. And I think the best thing to do at this point, because sort of the first 3 months we're in Melbourne, there's 2 periods. There's 6 weeks we're in hostels and there's 6 weeks when we're in apartments. So I think what we should do is sort of get into comparing the hostels, because we stayed at 3. We stayed at All Nations, we stayed at Urban Central, and we had a very brief spell at the shittest place in the world called Collingwood Hostel Plus.
No spoilers about which one was our least favourite.
But if we just talk about, because overall I'd say we probably spent basically a few weeks in All Nations altogether, including when we went back, and a few weeks in Urban Central, and then like a day or 2 at Hostel plus Collingwood. So if we compare the hostels, talk about what was good about them, what was shit about them.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
So obviously we'll start with All Nations first. What was your opinions on it, man? What did you like and dislike about it?
Okay, so here's the thing with All Nations. All Nations is a bit of a shithole. In the way,
I agree.
As far as facilities, not great. You have a big enough kitchen and that, but factually speaking, there's so many people that if you cook late at night, you're going to be swarmed with other people. Yeah. There's like a TV room, but most of the shit in there doesn't work, and there's no actual. There's
the DVD player didn't even work.
No, there's a few pillows. The bedrooms, they're okay. They're fine. They do.
Few people said they had rat problems in the bedrooms, but I never experienced that.
I experienced mice in the hostel.
I don't think I ever did.
But that might have been when me and Leon and that had a room together. I think one night we were all laying in there once we turned the light off, and we saw like 6 different mice all around the room. We're like, oh shit, there's a tribe of them. But
holy fuck.
But basically, so facilities-wise, for All Nations, not great. People-wise. Now, the people thing is interesting because All Nations is where we were sort of the second phase of the group, right? There were the initial sort of group, and then there was me and you and Lee, and like a second phase of us that came in, and that between both of those made the overall group.
Yeah.
And then when we moved to Urban Central, that's when like the Swedish girls and Ricardo and everyone was properly all of us in a massive group together. The Dutch boys as well. That's where Dutch Toby came along. But in general, we met that group at first at All Nations. So All Nations will always be the place where the group was formed.
Yeah, I'll always have fond memories of it.
So, and when we went back there, it was fond memories as well. But that's for
different people. But
that's for part 2.
It's part 2.
But I'd say All Nations, if I had to outline it, it's not the best place if you want a comfy night's sleep. But if you're there to make friends and you're willing to put yourself out there, then you will get that. You will, because the fact is, because the facilities are so shit there, you only have each other. So you're going to mingle and you're going to spend all of your time doing shit together because you don't really want to just sit around the hostel when it's not that great. Your opinions on All Nations first time around?
You pretty much said everything. Like, the facilities were pretty poor. Like, the showers were fucked. The showers, they weren't the best showers in the world, but, you know, they did their job. I'm just trying to think. Like, the rooms, they were okay. The beds weren't that comfortable. But like you said, you're not there really to have good living conditions. It's a hostel, for God's sake. Like, the thing about All Nations is it is massive. It is probably the biggest. I didn't obviously stay in any of the really well-known huge hostels, but
I think Urban Central is bigger.
No, I think All Nations, when you went down all the hallways.
Urban Central had like 4 different floors of all the different.
Yeah, but the floors weren't that big. I don't know, maybe. I don't know, but I thought All Nations was massive, man. There were like 3 different floors. But anyway, you only had one small kitchen, so like you said, if it got busy, you couldn't cook. But having said that, I really enjoyed the kitchen area because you could meet loads of people. Like, that's how I met that Melissa, the French girl, was just through literally just sitting down, and she came and sat next to us, and then we just started talking.
We met her in the laundry room, I'm pretty sure. That's the first time we properly spoke to her.
No, I spoke to her kind of during that U-Bar night, during the Magic Monday. I like literally just said hello to her, and like I had a dance with her, but it's just like when you're drunk and that, and I didn't remember. And then I saw her in the kitchen a couple of days later, maybe, and then I said hello to her when she sat down next to us, and I was like, I remember you from that night. And then we just kind of started talking a little bit. It was brief, like 10 minutes.
All Nations, not Melissa.
Yeah, well, you got me off on like bloody met her in the laundry. No, that was like a few days later. Yeah, so meeting people in the kitchen was really, really easy. So if you want to go and actually meet some people, make some friends, I'd suggest going to All Nations. Like, maybe even if it's your first time in Melbourne, if you want to meet a good group of people, go All Nations. Just spend some time in the kitchen, get to know some people. So that's what it's really good for. So yeah, pros, meeting people. Cons, facilities are wank.
Mm-hmm.
U-Bar on Magic Mondays was really good.
U-Bar, we're doing nightlife.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying because it's connected to the hostel. Obviously, I don't know if it is anymore, but they had that travel world thing that was connected to the hostel, which we got, I would say, we did kind of get scammed. We got used because we were hungover to buy. And then I was just going to say it quickly, a bit of advice on that is when you first get to the country, don't be intimidated into buying loads of package deals straight away. Like, take your time. Like, take a few days first to actually figure out what you want to do.
Consider your options.
You've got a whole year in the freaking country. You don't need to make all of your plans in the first couple of days, which we did, and it screwed us over. It put us out of a few, like maybe over $1,000 anyway. I'm not going to get into money, but yeah, it put us out a lot of money, and it was just for a stupid reason. That we were hungover, and they said for us to go down there. And then you've got some woman whose job it is to sell you things, like just ramming shit down your throat. You believe in every word of it, and then you end up spending a crap ton of money. But yeah, just say, sorry, I'm hungover. Go back to bed. Screw them. But yeah, so from All Nations, we went to Urban Central, which was quite different because we had a weird experience in Urban Central, actually, because obviously we got there a few days early. Well, actually, one day early. Yeah. And so we booked into our 4-bedroom dorm. Every dorm's 4-bedroom, actually, in Urban Central.
Well, we were different on the first day, weren't we, I remember? Because you sort of slept the whole day and I went to the park with everyone.
Oh, yeah, but we're talking about the hostels. We're not talking about...
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, we were at this hostel, and it got to we went into our room, and there was a really cool dude who was actually leaving to do like a snowboarding trip. He was like going to go work in the snowboarding for the snowboarding season. But anyway, it's besides the point. But the hostel, it got to nighttime, and all of a sudden you just hear this really, really loud noise. And it's just like it sounded like there was a waterfall in our bedroom, just water just gushing out somewhere. And you're just thinking, what the fuck is that? I'm trying to sleep, and all I can hear every single time someone goes to the goddamn toilet and they flush the toilet, all I can hear is just
Yeah.
and yeah.
It wasn't ideal. Basically, the main pipe to the sewage ran through our room. And it didn't help because that was going on, but also the cool dude just happened to be one of the loudest snores ever.
Literally snort like a tractor.
The room itself, very dark, beds very comfortable.
Yeah.
So beds-wise, great. But because we happen to be in the room with the shit pipe, and because the roommate snored loudly, it was sort of like being in a fucking war.
Like a war zone.
Like a war zone. There's just bombs going off all around. Yeah. Like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah, it's like some people would be going to the toilet at like 4 o'clock in the morning. You're like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You're like, I couldn't sleep anyway because this dude's snoring so much. And then like I'm drifting off, and then all you hear is and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
It was crazy.
Oh,
yeah. I think with me for Urban Central, Urban Central for me was probably, that was the place where our entire group were all there together. It was the only stage, in fact, out of the pretty much most of the experience in Melbourne where more or less all of us were living at the same hostel at the same time.
That was where our group hit like
peak size.
Peak.
And don't get me wrong, peak size remained for a good 3 months. I'd say. Like we were
crazy experiences.
So anyway, the point being, with all of us living there together, and it had, so Urban Central had way better facilities. You had pool tables, you had a massive bar, you had this big cushioned sofa area with proper nice padded sofas. So literally in the mornings, whoever out of our group woke up first would go lay on the sofa somewhere, and then for the rest of the day we'd come down in drips and drabs, and slowly the sofas would get filled with our entire group, and basically the sofa area became our area. Every day it was our group. Yeah. So for me personally, facilities at Urban Central was way better than All Nations.
Oh God, yeah.
And also because our whole group was there, I think Urban Central will always, in my mind, be the place where it was like, I don't know, it was just really cool. It was the fact that we weren't meeting too many new people other than the people that our group as a whole engulfed into it. But once we had our group was our group, and it was sort of mainly just all of us sort of going out on nights out, and all of us having random movie nights on the second floor on the sofas.
Yeah, I remember doing that.
And so it was great for the fact that it really cemented the group we had, and all of us became friends that were going to be friends for the rest of the time in Melbourne. But here's the problem, because our group was so big, once our group was formed and all of us were together, we stopped bothering with making loads of new friends at that point.
Yeah, so there's only so many people you can have in a group.
We already had like 40 or 50 of us. It's like, okay, at this point we don't need to make the effort to go and do these things because there's so many of us anyway. So in the daytimes we just chill together, or we go to the beach or whatever we do. And then come nighttime, we all go, what club should we go to? And as a massive group, we head over to the club.
They were some of the fondest memories of doing like the pre-drinks before. There's just a fuck ton of.
We just got the beer towers. They done beer towers at Urban Central for like $20, and it'd be like you'd just be sat there with one other person in the group. You'd be like,
yeah. Do you want to go halves on a beer tower? Yeah,
beer tower.
Yeah, I remember those. Those beer towers were cool as well because you felt like you're just pouring your own pints and you felt really cool. And
And the funny thing was, because of the size of our group, the table at certain points would just have like 10 different beer towers on them because
we used to have to like put tables together, and then we just have to like recruit tables from other places and just like, oh, can I put my beer tower on your table, please?
Yeah, man.
But one thing that I do have to say about Urban Central is, like we were saying earlier about like the checkout and check-in times. There's a couple of times we got really fucked over in Urban Central like that. There was one time in particular that I remember when we had to change room, and because you have to check out at 10 and you can't check in till 2, it's like you have to
go sleep on the sofa.
Yeah, so you've got like a 6-hour period, I think, 4-hour period, where you literally can't do nothing. You can't check into the new room. So yeah, you're just sat. The bar's not even open yet, so you just have to kind of sit and chill out in the in the bar area with just the sofas. And so we're both knackered and we're like trying to go to sleep for a little bit, and then like it's just a bit of a pointless story, but the loudest guy, the guy that just never shuts up and just randomly starts singing all the time, comes in, sits right next to my head and just starts singing out loud and like, hey Jordan, how are you, Jordan? Yeah, Jordan, oh yeah, how are you? I'm just like, why God, why out of all the people does it have to be this guy? And but the whole point of that was saying that sometimes they're going to screw you over with changing rooms, and you just got to deal with 4 hours of sleeping on the couch.
Also, I guess moving on to my sort of negative of Urban Central is so we moved for a bit because of we moved to a crap hostel called Hostel Plus Collingwood. But during the time that we moved from there, what happened to me was we went out one day and we came back and we were going out that night. So I left my bag in Lee's room, one of our friends, and it was like, yeah, cool. So we all go out on a night out, and the next day we go over to chill with them, and I asked Lee if I can borrow his key card to go and get my stuff from the room. And he's like, yeah, that's fine, man. And then one of our German friends, Toby's like, oh, can you grab my bags too from up there? And I'm like, yeah.
I got you to grab my bag as well.
Yeah, so everyone's just like, grab my bags. And it's like, yeah, fine, I'll go grab everyone's bags. That's fine. So I go up with a key card and I go to the room and I grab everyone's shit and I come down with it. And as I come out of the room, one of the guys who works at the hostel reception, this bald guy who's really fucking annoying, because for some reason after this, even months later, he knew my face and he'd be like, no, not you. I don't know why. He had like really bat vision for me. But yeah, so I went down, he's like, excuse me, can I see your key card and all this? And he's like checking the card and he's like, you're not staying here anymore. What were you doing up there? And all of this. And I'm like, oh, I just left a bag upstairs with my friend because we went out last night and we didn't go back to our hostel. And he's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So he was like, where's your friend? I need to speak to your friend. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go get Lee. So I send Lee over. And Lee, I just say to Lee, I just told him the story of what happened. Lee goes over and then Lee comes back. And he's like, yeah, nah. And then this woman comes over and literally, right, bitch. Like, I actually get angry with her and tell her to go fuck herself, which you really shouldn't do when it's someone who holds the power over you. But I do that. But so this woman comes over and she's like, you've got to leave the hostel right now. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, you lied. And we don't like lies. You shouldn't have lied to us. And I'm like, what the fuck did I lie about? And she's like, his story didn't match up with yours. And I'm like, what the fuck did his story not match? I told you the truth. And she's like, you've got to leave right now. And I remember a couple of other friends going like, this is fucking ridiculous. What are you doing? And I'm like, why? And she's like, no, you've got to leave. And I'm like, can't I just talk to you? And she's like, no, you've got to leave. And I'm like, fine, go fuck yourself. So I walk outside and then I'm outside and I'm just like, okay, now I need my friends to come outside. So I message and we get together and we go. But from that point onwards, unless it was nighttime and I could slip in through the bar door, I was no longer allowed in Urban Central. So that sort of tainted my view of Urban Central.
I think it would piss anyone off.
So for me, Urban Central is split into 3 categories, where it's like sociability good, facilities good, staff cunts. All right, and I know that's a bad word. I'm sorry if anyone gets offended, but seriously, what the hell was that?
Yeah, that was so weird. I remember you were just telling me about it. I was like, did you not explain it as other people's stuff? Because you came down with 3 bags.
I explained everything.
Didn't they think you were like illegally sleeping in the room?
I messaged Lee as well, and Lee was like, yeah, no, I said you were telling the truth. And I'm kind of like, did you? Are you sure?
Apparently you told him.
They said. Like,
oh my god.
It's like, according to them, you didn't. Like,
according to them, I'm a fucking liar. Because I just remember you because you were really angry outside. Just like, she called me a liar. I don't like when people call me I'm lying when I'm not. It's like, all right, Dan, calm down.
Called a liar, man. Especially when like you're getting kicked out of somewhere. It's like, why the fuck am I getting?
Oh my god, when you're getting kicked out for a bullcrap reason.
And it's like in the daytime, completely sober as well. I'm like, how am I getting kicked out of somewhere sober?
Oh, God.
Like I understand when I'm drunk. I'm a liability when I'm drunk. Sober Dan should have been kicked out of anywhere.
I think it's something that happens to everyone. You get kicked out of hostels at some point. You get banned from hostels.
So one of the funny things, actually, when it came for us planning our apartments, so obviously we've said I got banned from Urban Central, and our friend Ricardo that we told you about, who we saw getting lifted out of Yuba. The reason was he'd been banned from All Nations, and because Yuba was attached to All Nations, he's also not allowed there. So when it came to organising our apartment with him and 3 other friends, we basically had to go and meet at libraries and shit because neither of us could go to each other's hostels to like plan it, and yeah, it was a bit crazy.
Just another quick point about Urban Central is the kitchen closed really, really early. I think it closes at like 10, which is really annoying because if you, I don't know, say for example you're working like a night shift, you can't cook yourself food before you go to work, and you get home pissed and want to make a sandwich, you can't.
Yeah.
But that's probably most things. The facilities are quite good. In Urban Central. Sociability of it's again really good. You had the bar section, which had enough space that you can actually.
And they done beer pong once a week as well, like beer pong tournaments.
They did the pool competition, and the winner gets like a $50 bar tab.
Yeah,
it might all be completely different now, but yeah, I think I'd say that's. Have you got anything else to add about Urban Central?
And the staff are dicks, by the way, in case you didn't get that.
I've got fond memories of the staff.
So now we get on to the 3rd hostel we stayed at during our time in Melbourne, Hostel Plus Collingwood.
The greatest hostel in the world.
Jordan, do you want to start us off with this one?
Yeah, sure, mate, sure.
Seeing as it was your master pick.
Oh my god.
Your choice.
Like, I should pick every hostel we ever go to.
I'm like, Jordan, I trust you. You pick it for us.
Right, so it was coming to the Australian Open and the horse racing. It might have actually just been the horse racing.
Melbourne Cup, right?
Yeah, the Melbourne Cup. And it was the big horse racing event. And so the ticket, the daily charge for the hostel shot up to like $40, $50. And me and Dan are stupid and only book a week in advance. So we're screwed by this change in hostel prices. And so we decided, we'll just go and find somewhere else. And it's like, yeah, Jordan, go find us a hostel.
Yeah, because we're like, guys, we'll come back every day and see you, and then you can move over here with us.
Yeah. So I went onto that Hostel World app thing, and I just literally looked for the cheapest hostel possible, which is a stupid idea looking back at it. Found Hostel Plus Collingwood, $19 a night. Everywhere else is $50 a night, and I'm just like, yes, that'll do nicely. Looked at the pictures, didn't look too bad, and it came to the day. It was me, Dan, that French Melissa guy I was telling you about earlier, and Michael, yeah. And so the day came of our journey to the underworld. We rocked up on the road, like in Collingwood.
See, I remember this because we had our backpacks, and I remember walking down the road, and I remember looking at you and going, Jordan, this road looks really shit.
Yeah, because I had it up on my map, and I knew that we were getting closer, and I was thinking, oh my Jesus Christ.
I didn't even know that. I was just looking around and thought, Jordan, it's really shit here.
I'm kind of looking at the people that we're walking past, and I'm just thinking, holy fuck, man. I'm looking at my phone. We're like maybe 100 meters away from the hostel.
I just remembered the funniest story. I'll tell it later, but my God.
Yeah. So we're going towards the front door of the hostel, and I'm like, all right, guys, we're here. And I just remember everyone looking at me, and they're like, you must be kidding me. Like, you're joking. Because there was this woman who was sitting outside the front, and she, no idea what job she was on, but she was just staring at her phone. But the phone wasn't actually on. It was just a black screen, and she was looking at it like she was watching a YouTube video or something on her phone. She was really, really into it. And it's just like, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go. We walked inside, and the woman was like, oh, okay, you just put your deposit down, so you need to pay like the full amount now. And so we're thinking, in my head, I'm thinking, this is really stupid. We should just we should just leave. But we all pay, and she's like, oh yeah, I'll take you to your rooms now. And we go up, and she shows us to the room, and I remember we just walked in. There's just a wave of dust and shit everywhere, and it's like she kind of gives us like a black bag with all of our bedding and stuff, and it's like, oh, this is your bed, and you can make your beds and stuff, and shows us to like these beds. And I remember I looked down at the beds, and my one, which was the bottom bunk, had like blood stains all over them, like, but they must have been like, I don't know, probably a foot in diameter, with just a blood stain on the bed. And I'm thinking either someone got stabbed here or some girl had a very unfortunate experience on that bed. Either way, it's fucking disgusting. And then I looked on the bunk above, and there was loads of big cigarette burn holes in the mattresses.
Very thin mattresses as well, like ridiculous.
Like, super uncomfortable. Like, you lay down on the bed, and I remember you could feel the slats. It
felt like one of those roll-up mats you take camping.
Yeah, yeah, just those tiny little foam ones.
Yeah.
And then, just looking around the room, as if it's not bad enough. All around the windowsills, there's mold. There was dirty plaster underneath the bed that had the blood. And, yeah, it was like a dirty, bloody plaster. And it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ. And I remember seeing there's a guy came back from work. There was like a proper bogan dude, sits on his bed, takes his shoes off and goes, oh, don't mind me, boys, my feet fucking smell. And it's just like, oh, great, thank you. It's just not bad enough. Some guy comes in, looks dodgy as fuck. And so, yeah, at this point, like that, the Melissa who was with us is like going mental. And we're all just like, we can't stay here. And there's two other people they might have been in the room next to us or in the same room as us. And they came out and they were just in the same opinion as us, just shocked at how bad this is.
Yeah.
And so we were all just like, should we just all go down together and demand our money back? And we went downstairs and talked to the main woman. And this woman, I don't know what was wrong with her. Just like everyone else. And so it was like we were in like an insane asylum or something. This woman.
Everyone had this glazed look in there. Because literally as well, bearing in mind, while we're kicking off and trying to leave and going crazy, there's loads of people out in the garden area and stuff that are all sat around sort of smiling and as if they're having the best time ever and stuff, and like we're just storming around trying to find a way to be able to leave, and these people are just looking at us as if there's something wrong with us. It's like do you expect this shit usually?
Yeah, it's like, it reminds me of like North Korea or something, like in that film The Interview, where it's like everything's fake and they've got that like supermarket shop, which is just stickers posted on a wall which showed like fresh fruit and vegetable.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. It's just like everything in there was so fake. Everyone was like had a smile on their face, but inside you could see they're dying. It's like this place is
I
messed
actually
up.
don't think they were dying. I think they actually liked it there. I legitimately believe they enjoyed it.
They must have been like,
because I remember
fumes into the bedroom to
I
get
remember
high.
one of the days when we were going to the fucking beach, we got on the tram and they were there. Some of the people from our hostel all asleep, and they were happy. And like,
I remember we went outside once and he was like, "Oh no, yeah, it's actually quite nice because they've got a barbecue on the Sunday and stuff."
yeah.
It's like, maybe it was. Maybe we were just looking at it very superficially, like, oh, we're expecting a hotel or something.
Superficial, and then there's blood stains on the bed.
Yeah. And oh my God, we were talking to the woman at the thing, at the desk, and she was just kind of, there was a woman, fuck. There was a woman who was like doing the cleaning and stuff, I think I remember. And she looked like, I don't know, she just...
The blonde girl?
Yeah, and she looked really weird from what I remember.
She looked like she... I mean, let's not beat around the bush. She looked like she had an addiction to something.
Yeah. It looks like her kind of wages were paid in crack. Let's be honest.
And like bearing in mind that all of this crap's going on, and then the funny thing I remember was when she was like, "Oh, do you want to speak to the manager?" And then you were on the phone to the manager, and you said the manager was like getting aggressive with you.
Oh my God! She was like, "Oh, call up the manager and you can speak to her." So I was like, "Yeah, sure." I was on the phone to this woman, talking really calm. I was just like, "We're not staying here. I want my money back." And she started like screaming at me, and I said, "Look, all I want is my money back." And then she said, "Don't take that tone with me. Stop getting aggressive."
Because I remember she turned out and said you were rude.
Yeah, and I know what she did when she first came up, because my name's Jordan, obviously, and she came in. First thing she said was, "All right, who the fuck is Jason?" I was like, "Are you mental? That's not my name. You know that's not my name." She just wanted to kind of put herself in a position of power, like undermining me. It's just like, "Oh, you're an idiot."
Yeah.
But yeah, she came in and she started going mental, and she's like, "There's no return policies. You're doing this." And the funny thing is that we were complaining about the beds. We took pictures of it beforehand. We were complaining about the beds and stuff, and she was like, "Oh, there's no problem with any of the beds." And I remember she was having a conversation with that kind of with the cleaning lady maid, and I could smell bleach. You could smell bleach throughout the full freaking hostel as soon as she turned up. And then she was like, "Oh no, look, I'll show you the bedrooms. I'll show you that they're fine." We went up to the bedrooms, brand new mattresses. The floors have been washed probably in the first time in ever. They tried to wash the windowsills, but guess what? There was still a bloody fucking.
Basically, they tried to clean it up for us a bit.
They tried to lie about the fact that their hostel was scummy, and but yeah, we had pictures on our phones of it, so that didn't do anything. But yeah, she just tried to play it all down. Eventually, like the resolution was, we didn't get our money back, and we stayed there.
All she said was like, you can either leave and not get your money back, or you can just tough it out.
Yeah, I remember we were outside the hostel and we were talking shit about it, and she came outside and was like, "I'm going to call the police if you don't stop like bad mouthing my hostel." And then there was about a guy who was about to check in there, and we just said to him, "Mate, honestly, I would not stay here if I were you. That like the rooms are awful."
And he still checked in.
He still checked in for some reason. He was probably got to his room and thought, "Ah, shit, they were telling the truth."
I remember we went to the police as well, and the police were like, "Nah, I can't help you.
They can't do nothing about it." And then I remember going on to Hostel World afterwards and looking at the reviews and seeing so many reviews saying it was really, really bad. And I was like, why didn't I look at the bloody reviews?
So yeah, this was the last time we let Jordan pick the hostel.
I didn't pick a hostel. I literally didn't pick a hostel again after that.
I remember as well, one of the funny things, because we committed ourselves to there for, well, not long. For like, no, we paid for a week. We stayed for like 2 or 3 days. But we didn't actually stay there more than one night.
No, we slept there one night.
Because I remember as well, so we come back to the hostel, like the first night, we're like, fuck it, we'll just stay in our friend's room, and our friends let us stay there. And we come back, and we come back early in the morning, and we're walking to change our clothes and stuff, obviously. But we're walking into the hostel, and the manager woman's there, and she's like, "Oh, how was the first night then? Like, not as bad as you thought." And we just stood there, we're like, yeah, not as bad as we thought, like agreeing with her. It's like we didn't stay here.
Yeah,
like,
we didn't even sleep there.
And then we go upstairs, and like we're getting changed and stuff, and we're like, okay, we'll escape, it's all good. And bearing in mind there were other friends that wanted to come with us, and there were two French girls that we were going to make come, but we decided to tell them it wasn't good because we didn't want them to come somewhere this bad. And then there was a Dutch friend of ours called Toby who had gone away for work, and he was coming back, and basically I forgot to tell him how bad the hostel was. So I just got a message of him, literally a message of him going, "Bro, I'm outside." And I'm just like, oh no, Toby's
Yeah.
And then I go down and I see Toby, and we're like, yeah, right, let's all go to the beach. We're going out. And we go out, and I just remember we're with Toby, and this is the funny story I remember, because Toby's now seen the hostel and experienced the hostel. And his friend Tom's coming, and he says on the first night how there was some guy who went mental in the room, broke a locker, took a laptop, all this sort of shit.
Yeah.
And we go to a McDonald's, and we're all like, oh, it's so fucking bad here, man. Fuck Collingwood, it's so bad. And I remember us getting a burger and stuff and talking to Toby. And then this is the funny story I just remembered out of nowhere. Do you remember we went outside of the McDonald's, and just randomly, this person who was walking suddenly took off running. And I was just like, he's running away from Collingwood.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Asian
It's
guy.
like they got the message. They're running away from Collingwood.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he just was running as fast as he could. Yeah, they had a pretty bad time. Apparently, they were in their hostel room once, and there was two guys sitting on one bed, like fucking shooting up heroin. So yeah, it's not the best place.
Basically, so if we're going by the standards of the other one, this is my thoughts on hostel plus Collingwood. Facilities, shit. People, shit. Staff,
shit. All in all, if I could give that hostel a rating out of 5, I would give it, a 0. Yeah.
Point one is because we made a couple of friends who also wanted to leave and got drunk with them.
Yeah, I'd give it 0.5 for those two people that we met that one time.
They were all right. Hence, they were trying to escape as well. That's why they were all right. But yeah, we only stayed there for a couple of days, and then we ran. And that's when the two Dutch friends that had came there, and Ricardo we told you about earlier, and another friend called Jesus, we all decided, fuck hostels, let's sort out an apartment together.
Exactly. And that's where the whole kind of trying to find an apartment, because we wanted to rent somewhere for a few months. We all were like, yeah, we're going to get jobs, we're going to earn some money. And so we tried to look for like a short-term lease on apartments.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, we went to this like just little kind of cafe thing that Jesus knew, and we spent all day looking at these different apartments and stuff. And we found one that we were like, whoa, this is really nice. So we rang them up, and we were like, do you do short-term leases? And they're like, not really, but you can come and have a look. So we went there, and like our minimum contract like 12 months. But what you can do is you can get people to take over your contract. So we're thinking, it might not be too bad.
This is so funny.
We got kind of took up to the apartment, and then we found out that it's not even furnished, so we'd have to buy our own furniture. But we're kind of really, I was loving the apartments, and like they wanted us to put a bond down, which was going to be like $1,000 each, but they had like a rooftop swimming pool and stuff, and you're just imagining like your life there. which would have been amazing.
It's where Colin in that actually ended up.
Yeah, they did. Lee and the Danish guys, they got an apartment there. But anyway, so we realised that it was a bit out of our budget and we couldn't commit to that long a contract. And they also didn't really take people who were single. They wanted couples, I think, didn't they?
They said there were a few things that we found outside of Airbnbs with everywhere that we went. One, they didn't really like taking travellers.
Yeah.
Because obvious reasons we leave at different times. So it's hard for them to guarantee they're going to get the rent paid. Two, they don't like it if you're all young males.
Yes, they didn't like that.
That's not too much of a shock either if you consider things, especially what we got up to in our apartments.
The amount of shit you broke.
Three, the third thing, they don't like it if you're not all working.
Oh, yeah.
Which isn't rocket science either. And this is the funniest story. So we all go to this place to basically say we're looking for an apartment, and it's like this Asian woman who sat with us, and she's like talking to us, and she was just like, yeah, we like people who are sort of, gonna be here definitely for a certain amount of time. If you guys can just all write down here sort of your jobs and sort of all of this sort of stuff, and like who's, basically all that crap. And we're all looking around the table and we're like, one of us has a job right now. So like we leave and we're like, okay, we can't do this, we'll leave. So the funny thing is, a day later we're looking again and we're like, this one looks really good. And we all walk along together as a group again and walk into this building. And we're like, it's fascinating, we didn't notice sooner. But we walk in and we see the woman again, and we're kind of like, literally, we're at the same building.
The same fucking building. And guess what? Instead of doing what a normal person would do and just go, never mind, we'll leave.
We filled out the sheet again.
We sat down and filled out. We literally all put in the details, knowing that we're in the same place. We're definitely not getting this place. But we still spent about half an hour of our time just sat there and no one said a word. And it's just like,
there's not much you can do.
No, we just sat there and like the woman was sitting there explaining the house to us. And we're like, we know all of this. We were here yesterday listening to you do all of this.
And we sat there thinking, it's really awkward if we just go, actually, we can't do this. So we just sit through it and we go. So anyway, eventually, after a few different things like this, we're together and we're like, yeah, we're going to have to do Airbnb because it's going to be more expensive in a way, but that's the only way we're getting taken. And even on Airbnb, we had to cheat the system a little bit and lie about how many of us there were and stuff. Yeah. But we decided to do it for Airbnb. We had 3 different apartments in all, each one for 2 weeks. So maybe if we just go through them one by one, I guess. So the
do you want to do that, or we can just sum up Airbnbs in general because people don't care about the actual.
Yeah, true. Well, here's the system. Airbnb is a great system.
It's perfect for traveling.
Very easy to cheat. So say that you're going, and I mean, I'm presuming we're going to this in more depth in part 2. But basically, say. The easiest one to sum this up with was the 3rd apartment we got, because we actually had to sneak people in that one and stuff. But basically, say it's for 4 people. You will have 2 people hide somewhere with all of their shit, and the 4 of you will just go up, and then it's you 4. And so the person thinks there is only you. But one of the problems we had was there was so much stuff, and it was hard to pretend that it was all of ours and not everyone's. But anyway, so it's very easy to cheat, and usually if you do a 4-person, you'll get 2 double beds and sort of a sofa that will pull out into a double bed. So 6 of you can sleep there easily.
Yeah.
And also, if you say there's 3 of you or you say there's 4 of you, the amount of money you pay per week drops as well.
Yeah.
I don't know why, it just
I
does.
know why. Basically, every advertising will have a certain amount of people. It will say like two to 4 people. So if you then, it will say it can like fit 6 people to sleep because including the sofa bed, but it says 2 to 4 people maximum. And then any people past that point, you have to pay for every extra person.
Yeah.
So the way that we cheated the system, obviously we had 6 people trying to get into a 4-bedroom place. So what we would do is we'd say only 4 people were going to turn up. And like Dan was saying, you'd have the 4 people, but then you'd have the other 2 people who would just like chill around the corner with their bags and stuff. We'd get the keys off of the woman so she thinks that it is legitimately only 4 of us staying there. And then when it's all safe to do so, we would tell the other people, all right, yeah, you can come up, and we'd let them in. So we knew that we'd be able to fit all of these people in, but obviously the house isn't meant for that many people, if that makes sense. So yeah, something as well, like you need to take into consideration when you're doing it is cleaning fees, because some of them, they'll advertise that their property is quite cheap, but then they'll ramp up the cleaning fees. So it actually ends up being more expensive than some places that might be more expensive daily. So that's something else that you need to kind of keep an eye on. Just basically do your research about them. And just
I think
when you're putting how many people are going to stay, put in as little amount as possible to an extent. Like you don't want to just say like one person stay in there just to make it super cheap for you, because that's just stupid. That's obviously not going to work. Put in like a reasonable amount of people, but then keep an eye on how many, when it starts adding extra money for every extra person that you add into the house.
Yeah, here's another thing. When you do Airbnb for whatever reason, no matter how many of you there is, you're going to get 1 key or you're going to get 2 keys, and that's it. And it really is a bit of a shitty situation, because there's some people that are working on a day and there's some people that aren't. The problem is if the people who aren't, we had one particular apartment where there was 1 key. When it's 2 keys, it's all right. The way we've done that is whoever's working and gets back from work first that day takes the key so they can let the other workers in, and then the group that aren't working has one of the keys so they can go and do shit. The first apartment we only had 1 key for it, with 6 of us. So there were days when we'd all be out doing something, and then one of the guys would get home from work and we'd be like, sorry bro, we're out. And then they'd just have to sit outside after a day of work for like an hour waiting for us to get back.
It was really shit. There was one time when one of our friends, when Jesus got locked out for a few hours at night because he went out to see a friend.
Oh yeah.
And then came back, and obviously we were all sleeping.
We went out, didn't we?
Me and you went out. Yeah, me and you went out. But then Jesus came home, and I just remember watching my phone just fucking blow up with Jesus getting really pissed off because no one was awake to let him in. And we actually ended up leaving the club, didn't we, to come home to let him in.
We went back, yeah.
Yeah, because, obviously we weren't just going to make him stay outside. He's just like, he's coming home, wants to go to bed. And, like, we're just at a club, man. We can go home. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I definitely, to anyone who is thinking about doing Airbnbs, man, definitely do it. You honestly stay in some places that you never imagine you can stay in. Like, these places are, like, unbelievable places.
Beautiful
like, just like maybe sometimes you'll be on like the 50th floor and you get like a beautiful view of the skyline. I remember the first apartment we stayed in, when it hit nighttime, the city would light up and we had a perfect view of the city skyline.
And we had like a swimming pool and stuff, so we'd have our friends over and we'd all go and play around in the swimming pool.
Swimming pool, jacuzzi, sauna, even sometimes there was gyms.
Okay, so if we do some funny stories from when we're in the apartments, because there's a few different. So here's between here and the next episode, one thing you'll learn about me is I break a lot of tables.
Yes, you do.
And I've broke a few other things. I've broken a double bed, and I broke I've broken a lot of shit. One of the apartments we had, I actually was trying to clean up the day we left, and the broom snapped in half while I was sweeping.
Yeah, I remember.
I was just like, oh, I haven't broke anything here. This is great. And then the broom snapped in my hand. I was like, how has this happened?
To be fair, it was a fucking old broom.
Oh dear. And there was the jacuzzi that we all jumped into that had bleach in it.
Oh my god, it destroyed my eyes.
And like I sort of, I had very, very tender balls afterwards, to put it as nicely as I can.
Your balls
there were a few friends as well. There was another friend who got in there and his balls were sore as well.
Yeah,
and there were a couple of girls that got in it. One had her hair ruined and had to get cut. So when you go into jacuzzis, check if they're being bleached.
Yeah. Just take your little pH scales with you. You know, I'm sure everyone has one of those knocking about somewhere, and just test the water first.
Who expects someone to be bleaching the fucking
It was so bad, man. My eyes, I could barely open my eyes.
To be fair, it was at night after they get locked, right? Because I remember we jumped the gate into the jacuzzi, so maybe they bleached them overnight and we just broke in and
it was chlorine. It was chlorine that what it was that fucked us.
Yeah.
But
whatever. Basically, that screwed us.
Oh, mate, it ruined all of us.
Yeah.
All of us in some way had something bad happen to them from that.
Yeah. Amazing.
Amazing.
Whoa.
I don't really know. What else can we say about Airbnbs, really?
I think not Airbnbs as much, but if you're living in the city in general, and you know that you plan on being there a while, and you know that you want to work and save money, I do believe the best thing you can do is find a good group of friends that all also want to stay around for a number of months. And if you can find somewhere, get a place together for a few months. Yeah, because
like a house
one thing that definitely was cool having the apartments with friends is there's just so much more of a relaxed vibe. You're not in hostels surrounded by other people where sort of you get home from work and you need to cook, but everyone else is cooking in the kitchen. Yeah. You're not in a situation where you wake up in the morning and immediately you've got to be talking to strangers just because you go downstairs and they're there. It's sort of like you're just with your friends so you can chill out. Also, certain things just become much easier. You have Wi-Fi. That's a great bonus. Because in most hostels, the Wi-Fi is not that great unless you pay. Also,
even then, it's not great.
Also, you have a sofa. That's amazing. That's so great.
Somewhere to chill out.
You usually have a balcony. You can get a swimming pool and stuff like that. Like I said, you have a telly that you can connect a laptop to, and you can chill in the evenings and watch movies. You can do group meals together. Like there's just a lot of bonuses that sort of you have in your normal life at home that maybe you take for granted, and until you've done a few months in hostels and surrounded by people and that, when we first got apartments, all of us agreed, it's like, wow, okay, this is what it's like to have a sofa again. This is what it's like to have a nice, big, comfy double bed again. This is...
Do you know what I actually really enjoyed? Was being able to unpack your clothes into a wardrobe.
Yeah.
That was really nice to be able to do that.
Yeah, unpacking. And having nice, powerful showers that
good showers.
You only shared with a couple of friends. That there's just little bonuses, little perks that you notice when you haven't had them for a while that might not mean much to you otherwise, but they mean a lot to you when it's your first time having it in a long time. And it means a lot if you're working. If you're working a lot of hours, it's nice to have the comfort of having a place to go back to where you can just chill the fuck out and not care about having to be sociable, maybe.
Oh, yeah, completely. Because like, sometimes when you're working and if you wake up in the morning, if you're in a hostel, you have to kind of rustle around in the dark looking for your work stuff, and that really sucks. So to be able to actually, be able to turn a light on and get your shit sorted to go to work, and then be able to go into the kitchen and like do your shit without people around you, it's just nice because in the mornings, I don't know about other people, but I'm not really a morning person. So in the mornings, I just kind of want to be left alone just to do my shit and get on with my stuff. So yeah, it's probably not the best thing for a person traveling to say, but in the mornings, man, I can't be fucked to talk to people sometimes. Right? Give me till midday, and then yeah. But yeah, man, definitely go and experience both sides. Obviously, hostels amazing for meeting people.
Yeah.
Fantastic, the best.
And then once you have your people, maybe go and get a place together so you can
check out. Yeah, man, just check out some share houses, check out some Airbnbs.
Also, your bond will become amazing once you live with people. That's something that has to be said. Once you've lived with them and just them outside of a hostel, those are now your closest friends.
Oh yeah, they become family.
There'll probably be people that you stay in contact with for a very, very long time, if not for good.
100%.
But yeah, so moving on from our experiences with that, you can start this off. Tell us some really good things to do in the daytime in Melbourne. Give us if someone goes to Melbourne, what can they look forward to in the day?
Okay, one thing that I really enjoy, man. I don't know about other people, but just going and walking around town, man. You get so many live performers, like people, bands, street artists and stuff. So just wandering around the city and being able to see all of that, I really enjoyed it, man. The first time we were there, I was just taking videos of fucking everyone who was doing street performance. I remember there was some kids who were literally no older than maybe 12, 13. There was one kid who was on the bass who was about 7. And like they were just singing like a bunch of the Eagles songs and stuff like that, man. It was really enjoyable. So I'd say, yeah, go check out the street performers in Melbourne, man. Some of them are amazing. I'm trying to think what else is there to do. What else did we do in our first time there? Because I was going to say about...
Well, one of the places you definitely go when it's hot and it's in the summer is you will all go to the beach in St Kilda. You'll all go relax there. It's really nice. It's a 20-minute tram out of the city that you can jump on and get off for free because the ticket people aren't around much. And it's cheap and cheerful. You can go and get yourself some bottle of cider, chill out in a group, enjoy the sun. Go play some volleyball in the sea. If you go towards dusk, you can go see penguins at the pier.
Yeah. Just when the sun starts to set, you got these tiny little baby penguins.
Yeah.
And then you got some woman with a red light shouting at you, telling you not to use flash, which is obvious.
There's quite a few nice big parks in Melbourne as well that we spent a lot of time at. One in particular that comes to mind is Flagstaff. If you have a football or a ball that you can throw around and stuff, a lot of the times, especially sort of when we had time to kill between apartments and whatnot, we'd go to a park, chill out, throw a ball around.
Yeah, obviously, like I said, there's that massive aquarium that you can go and check out, and you've got you've got the botanical gardens as well. Like I said, if you like nature and stuff, man, go check out the botanical gardens. They got a cafe there that does some really nice coffee as well. So big thing in Melbourne as well, man. Coffee shops. Like, I didn't really experience many of them, but yeah, there's a lot of really niche kind of hipster coffee shops around, so you can check them out.
Yeah.
What else is that I was gonna say? Something that I did. I'm not sure if you ever went there, but there's a lot of street art in Melbourne. I know that there's that one street. Is it Chapel Street? Something. There's somewhere that apparently. Do you remember we tried to
Chapel Street's the street with
Revolver and stuff.
Yeah, that's.
But we'll get onto that.
Hosier.
No, Hosier Lane is the one that I was going to say. But I know there's another place apparently that has a lot of street art. The whole kind of street is just filled with graffiti.
I don't know,
anyway,
man. But
Hosier Lane.
Know it.
No, but I know that there is one. So if you do a bit of research, you'll find out if you like street art. There's a lot of it in Melbourne. But I went down Hosier Lane, and it's covered from pavement to the top of the buildings in street art, which changes daily, man. And like there's bikes and dustbins and stuff that are down that road as well, and they're all kind of blended into the walls and stuff with the spray paint. It just looks amazing. You got there's a really cool bar that's down that lane as well, which is quite like retro. I just kind of I had a look in there, but
this is where you went. This is where you went when you disappeared and Ricardo came back from work one day and he's like, "Where's Jordan? He didn't show up to work."
yeah, just a quick side story. I had a job at a place called Cranitis, which is by the Yarra River, and it's like an Italian restaurant. Blah blah blah. I had my trial shift there. Thought it was really shit, but I needed money. Day of my first shift came, signed all the paperwork and stuff. They gave me my uniform, put it on, walked towards work. I was already 10 minutes late for my first shift, and I was thinking, nah, fuck this. I hated the job. I'm the worst waiter in the world. I'll never do it again, apart from a couple of months later where I did do it again. But yeah, I just walked towards work, thought, nah, not doing it. Sorry, I'll be broke. I don't even care. Texted them on the WhatsApp group, like, sorry guys, this job ain't for me. Before I got a reply, deleted WhatsApp. Never been on WhatsApp again because I'm scared that I'll see them like slagging me off. But yeah, and I just thought, fuck it, I'm going to go take a walk around the city, like kind of get a new perspective on what the hell I'm going to do. And yeah, I went down Hosier Lane, just had a little walk around. Actually, really refreshed me. Sometimes walking does that, man. Sometimes just having a little walk kind of makes you figure out what you want to do. Because I was in a real shit situation at that point. I think I had like $400 in my bank, which compared to some situations I was in isn't actually a lot of money. I could get by on $400.
It was quite impressive. No matter the amount of money, Jordan had the ability to walk away from work.
Oh yeah, man. Work to me is very low on the list of things that I want to do. Fuck money. Fuck working.
But yeah, so basically that's sort of the main daytime things, I think. That there's obviously other ones, but if we're just saying the stuff that we done over this time period, they're the things.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of else.
Nightlife in Melbourne.
Nightlife, we've got a little bit more experience in nightlife.
So, okay, well, we're going to go for a quick pause here, just purely because I'm going to say I'm not sure what to do at this point, because this podcast is definitely going to be long as fuck.
This podcast is ridiculously long.
I feel like this podcast is going to be longer than the first time we did it.
Yeah, and I don't know how that's possible.
Because I feel like I don't feel like there's as much fat on this, though. I feel like everything we've said has been nice and flowy.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be a really long episode. It's just going to be a long episode. Because we're still going to talk about nightlife, the beach rave, the Great Ocean Road, saying goodbye, Cairns, and farm. Unless we do 3 parts.
We might have to.
If we're doing
this is getting ridiculous.
If we're doing that, the way we'd have to do it is sort of talk about the nightlife in Melbourne now, and then... Okay, actually, maybe we don't have to talk about Beach Rave and Great Ocean Road, because I remember in part 2 we done most memorable moments in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And both of them were on that.
Yeah. True.
So potentially,
right, so we'll just do
nightlife and saying goodbye, and then the farm.
Yeah, that would take about 20 minutes.
All right. Well, no, it won't. Nightlife by itself will take at least 20 minutes if we're going to explain nightlife in Melbourne.
What are we going to say? We're not going to say, oh, I went to Revs 20 times.
Yeah, true. I mean...
We'll just list off different places we went and what we liked about them.
All right, go on then. You start.
All right, so getting on to nightlife now, that's like kind of things in the daytime. But nightlife, we probably have a little bit more experience in, to be honest, because we spent a lot of money on it. So I think the best thing that we could probably do is just kind of tell you maybe some of the clubs we went to, favourite ones. And obviously, you have to start off. The first one you have to start off with is Revolvers, obviously. Everyone goes to Revs. It's basically... It's really, really famous just because it's open for 72 hours straight. It used to be open all the time, but I think it might just be an urban myth. But the supposedly there was one guy who got really fucked up in there, fell asleep on the couches and didn't move for like a week or something. And then eventually the bouncers went up to him, tried to wake him up to tell him to like go home. Turns out the dude was dead. The dude was dead on the couch for a week.
Yeah.
So they decided not to do it for like 24/7.
I don't know how you think someone slept for that long. They're just like, oh, he's having a good nap.
Yeah, Jesus. But yeah, so it's a 72-hour nightclub from Friday till Sunday, or
I'm pretty sure
till
it's
Monday.
on Thursday.
Thursday, is it? Oh, it might be longer than
Thursday till Monday, and then Monday breakfast club.
Yeah, but basically it's just a long ass fucking time, and I think everyone goes there with the kind of, oh, I'm gonna do 24 hours in Rev, I'm gonna go for a hard one, and then go to breakfast club in the morning.
No one makes it.
I think the longest I did in there was 8 hours, and after that it was just like, oh man, I've got to go to bed.
I've left there when it's light. But,
yeah. But no, honestly, that's the only appealing part about it. To be honest, the music in there to me is just techno, which you can get anywhere. It's really dingy. You've just got a bunch of sofas everywhere in one of the rooms, and then the other room it looks like you're going into a freaking, like, I don't know. You've just got got like cage. Yeah,
it's cool
like
though. I don't mind.
It's cool. No, don't get me wrong. Revs, I had some great times in there. I had a lot of fun in Revs.
It's one of those clubs that you just cannot go to if you are not fucked. Okay, don't go there if you're fairly sober, because you just won't have that great of a time.
No, you'll just be standing around watching everyone like, Jesus, you all look like zombies.
Yeah. Okay, one that I think we'll get into next, just because there's a few stories that need to be told on the place as well, and it's sort of, I don't know, I feel like it's sort of a cult classic for our group in a way, but like U-Bar itself, connected to all nations. Okay, so here's the U-Bar for me is one of those, it's the only place in Melbourne where 1 out of 2 I get kicked out at some stage. Don't know why, but for some reason U-Bar has this effect on me where I need to be drinking 2 jugs of Snakebite at a time.
It was like ritual. Dan gets in, Dan buys 2 jugs of Snakebite, and you'll never not see him for Snakebite.
The whole night there'll just be 2 jugs.
Yeah, you won't even finish 2 of them. You'll be finished 1 of them, still have a massive jug left over, but still go to the bar just so you've got 2 freaking jugs.
Yeah,
it's like
I'm generous with it. People get some around me as well.
There's one girl that we knew called Lena, Danish Lena. And I remember one night she came up to me and she's like, Jordan, please help me. Dan is not leaving me alone. He keeps filling my jug up. He keeps filling my glass up with his Snakebite. It tastes like shit. Yeah. And then literally the funny thing is, as soon as she kind of said that, you just kind of peered over her shoulder and was like just pouring drink into a cup. And she's like, Dad, stop it.
But yeah, that one of the funniest stories I remember, or I kind of remember, but I remember one of the nights when I was outside, and it's the most memorable kick out for me, I guess. But one of the nights I was outside and I was speaking to this girl, and I don't know, we were talking about tattoos because she had tattoos and I had tattoos. And I remember I was like, oh, do you want to see my tattoo? Because I'm drunk. And she's like, yeah, cool. So I have a tattoo on my leg. And usually you'd pull your jeans up and show a tattoo on your leg. Yeah, but because I was quite fucked, obviously, I just sort of pulled the old jeans down to the ground, turned around, I was like, there's my tattoo. She's like, oh yeah, nice. Pulled the jeans back up, went to go back in the club, and the bouncer's like, no. And I'm just like, oh, why? And he's like, yeah, you just sort of took your trousers off. And I'm like, oh. And that was the end of the night for me.
Oh my God, it was so funny because I just came outside. I was like, Dan, why aren't you coming back in? And the bouncer explained to me he's not coming in because he took his trousers off. And to me, that kind of sentence didn't compute properly in my head. I was like, Dan did what? I turned to you and like, oh, I was just showing the guy my tattoo. I was like, Dan, you're a fucking idiot. Oh dear. But yeah,
so
U-Bar just had an effect on you, man.
Here's the deal. U-Bar is a very shit bar. But if you go there on the correct night, in the correct time of year, because it's attached to a hostel and all of that, and because our whole group went, you'll have a very fun night. You'll get very drunk. You won't remember all of it. And yeah.
Definitely. Alright, so you got U-Bar. And then another place that we went to, because Revolvers started getting quite just too familiar for us, I guess. Just too samey. So we started going to this new place called New Guernica. And that's kind of where we ended up going quite a lot. And that's probably my favourite club in Melbourne, actually.
Yeah, it's my favourite.
I don't know, it wasn't big. It wasn't a big club. It just the vibe about it, the music was really cool. And it's just, the thing is, when we went, all of our friends went. And we just consumed like 90% of the club just to us. So it was basically just like having a private party with your mates.
Yeah, man. That's what I used to... The other one that was quite similar to that was XC54. The times that we went there was exactly the same. Like, both of those bars are equal in the way that you go to those bars because there's specific DJs on, and they're both techno bars. But you go there, your whole group goes in, and for the entire night, you're just with your entire group having a laugh. On a small dance floor. You don't lose each other. It's not that kind of club. You literally stay together the whole night.
Something else I want to say. Do you remember we went to see that DJ? I think her name was Nastia.
Yes.
Do you remember? That was amazing.
Small little club.
Yeah, it was. It was like I don't remember what it was, but it was like a warehouse club kind of thing.
That was really good. She was.
Yeah, she was amazing, man. So
that was like me, you, German Toby, like, yeah.
Yeah, I just remember, because I was really drunk, and I was kind of like doing as you do, and like video recording her set, and because I remember German Toby telling us beforehand that she's like this beautiful woman DJ and stuff. So then I'm pissed, and then I'm just sitting there recording her, waving at her, like, hello. And then she waved back at me, and I was just like, I just turned around and I said, Toby, she waved at me.
You kept going, oh, she smiled at me the next day and stuff, as if you pulled her or something.
Oh, mate. It's just, it's because I was drunk and I was like, all giddy about it.
Yeah, that place was cool. Most of the places we went, to be fair, guys, were techno bars. We didn't break the mold too much. There's other options in Melbourne, but I can't really tell you about those options because we never took them. Another place to go, actually, just quickly, briefly, it's not a nightclub. Oh, I can tell you one shit one. Don't go to Click.
Click. There was Cookies. Cookies as well was a bit shit.
Yeah. Click is like this bar that's open really late into the morning, but it's the place where everyone who's too fucked to do anything goes once the other club's shut.
Apparently it's the place that all the strippers go to after they finish work.
I've never seen any of the strippers there.
That's what I heard. That's just what I heard.
That's just what Dom always said.
Well, I trust Dom, okay?
Okay. But, one place to go day into night, whenever it's on, is you will be able to go to beach raves if you go to Half Moon Bay. They're usually, you hear about them through the hostel somehow from some.
Yeah, someone will share the.
But
Facebook
you go
group
there, they bring all the DJ equipment down the cliff face, and sort of they just have DJ sets starting in the afternoon all the way through into the night, and you can just go there with your own alcohol, and it's a lot cheaper because you've took your own shit, and you just get blitzed and have a great time.
Yeah, I was going to say that's another good reason to actually broaden your circle out when you're going traveling and talk to as many people as possible, because they'll know things that you don't know. So they might actually have some events that you would never normally think of yourself, and then they'll tell you about it, and then you'll be like, fuck it, why not? I'll try it. And then you find something new that you love. Like beach raves, man. I didn't know anything about the beach raves before.
Yeah.
I forget who it was who said about it, but yeah, then we went to the beach raves, and honestly, it was probably one of my favourite experiences.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'd say that's sort of the best feel we can give you for nightlife. There's not there's not too much to say outside of the fact that if you have a big group of friends from the hostels that you have really good time with, then no matter which club you hit, as long as you're all having a good time together, it'll be a good experience.
Also, one added kind of nightlife thing that I'm not going to give too much away about it because it's really, really fun to go and find it out for yourself. Is all the hidden bars and stuff that are in Melbourne.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to go into detail about any of them because I don't want to spoil the fun. But what you can do, I think you can get an app on your phone or something that it tells you about all the hidden bars and stuff around. So you just spend a day. It will cost a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, because these places charge more than your average because they're
like themed cocktail-y sort of places.
Yeah. And so you can just spend like a day doing a bar crawl and stuff into the night. Just go into all these different places. There must be 20 plus different. And yeah, like I said, they've all got different themes. So honestly, that is something that everyone should do, I think. Like, even if you're not a big drinker, just go and have a couple of drinks and just experience.
And you can break it up. You can break up because there's a lot of them. You can do a few every weekend, and then you've got new places to discover for a couple of months.
It's not like you're not there to get pissed. You're there to experience the theme of the place and just be like, well, okay, what is going on here? So maybe actually, because this place I don't feel like was a really like hidden bar kind of thing. But what was that mushroom place we went to? It's like Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, that was one of the hidden bars.
But
it's called Storyville.
Okay. I feel like it was more of a bar than like a hidden bar.
It was just a hidden bar that had a dance floor.
Yeah, no, because it was quite out in the street. But anyway, like, to give you the basic idea, this place, you go inside and it's like you're going into a toadstool. It's like you walk into it and then you go inside and you've just got
tables were toadstools.
Yeah, the tables were toadstools. But even when you went out into the smoking area, it was, and the stairs itself were like made out of wood to make it look like it's like going up like a beanstalk or something.
Yeah, it was fairy tale.
Yeah, it was nice, and it's stuff like that, and they're brilliant. They're brilliant. But so kind of this is kind of getting towards the end of the part one, I guess, of Melbourne, because I feel like we've had enough detail about activities and stuff. But yeah, like I was saying earlier about the working in the restaurant and that, and how I kind of lost that job. It kind of got to a point where it got really difficult to spend money because I didn't have any, so I couldn't really afford to pay rent anymore. So me and Dan decided that it was time to do our farm work and get it out of the way with.
Yeah.
So we ended up having this massive leaving party, which was really fun, man. There must have been like 30, 35 people that turned up.
Yeah, everyone turned up.
Literally everyone
there were people that were there that kind of I didn't really know that had just come along as well. Just sort of.
Man, there was we've got like a picture of it, and there's so many people.
Yeah.
And we had this massive leaving party. And it was nice as well because we were saying goodbye to everyone, like reminiscing, just saying, "Oh, I'm gonna miss you. We've got to meet up again at some point. We'll meet up with you down the road when we're going down the East Coast and that."
Little did we know that road was 4 days away.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you spoiled the story, Dan.
That is the story.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying anyway, we were kind of saying goodbyes to everyone, expecting that we won't see them for maybe some of them we will never see again. And we were kind of making plans. Oh yeah, man, I'm gonna keep in contact with you. We'll see each other down the East Coast. Who knows? We'll see each other in Sydney for the New Year's or something like that. And we kind of booked in to go to this banana farm up in Cairns in a place called Innisfail, where we knew there was this one girl, Eleanor, I think.
Yeah, she'd gone to a place in Innisfail as well.
Yeah, and we decided we'll go to Innisfail as well and get our banana farm work out the way, because they said that they were looking for strapping young lads, and me and Dan thought, well, we're two of those. We're healthy, we're fit, we can do this. So off we trot. We
Actually, one of the funny things that we should point out here is so when we were looking for farm work, primarily at first, I went online and I found every single farm I could think of and find online, and I wrote out every single name and every single phone number, and then me and Jordan, as you do, went and got ourselves a box of goon, which we haven't explained in this podcast, but it's boxed wine that's very...
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's quite strong, it fucks you up. But we got a box of goon, we filled glasses up with wine, and we got drunk as we called the farms.
It was just liquid courage, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know why
Dutch
we were
courage.
nervous to call the farms. But one thing I would say is don't get drunk when you ring the farms, guys. You might go to a shit one.
Yeah, you might end up thinking, oh yeah, $25 an hour. What could go wrong? It'll be great. We'll save loads of money.
To be fair, we thought we would. But point being, we got drunk. We called loads of farms. We found this. It was one of the only ones that got back to us that was hourly and was quite high hourly. So we were like, yeah, money. So that's what we went with. And so we get the plane, we fly up to Cairns. When we get to Cairns, we have a few friends that actually had left on a road trip. So we met up with them and we caught up with those guys for a couple of hours. We went to this place called the Lagoon in Cairns, which is really just a children's swimming pool because you're not allowed in the sea because there's crocodiles. So that's sort of Cairns' version of the sea, I suppose.
A little paddling pool.
It's not great. But
it wasn't great at all.
We can brush over Cairns just because we weren't there long enough to really tell you.
We were there for a couple of hours.
All we know is that there's a lagoon and there's a place that sells falafel. That's what I got there. I got a falafel kebab while we were with them. But we get the bus a few hours down, and while I'm on the bus going to Innisfail, I'm sort of looking out the window and I'm seeing it get more and more rural and less shit around. And I sort of noticed we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, which is to be expected.
We got to the hostel, and the hostel was literally like a tin shed. The where we were living, our sleeping arrangements was like a tin shed, and it wasn't very good, to be honest. The people that were at the hostel were really nice, like really cool people. And I just remember we managed to get work on a banana farm for the very next day. So, and then everyone was telling us it's going to be really difficult. Just try and get through the first week. You're going to struggle really bad, but after the first week, it's not too bad. And they were telling us a story about two girls that were there, and they finished a day of work there and decided to leave the next day. And they were basically just calling them like bitches, and they were like basically wimps for leaving after one day and stuff. And me and Dan were just sitting there thinking, we're not going to do that, man. We're strong young men. We're gonna get through this, get really strong. And the guys were like, after we finish work, you can come to the gym with us and stuff. And we're just like, yeah, why not, man? Yeah, it's all good. And I remember we went to sleep that night, and I was kind of nervous, so I didn't get much sleep. And also there was two like lizards who were like banging in the room.
Geckos were shouting to each other.
Yeah, they would like. I never knew that geckos made noises, but these geckos. Yeah, they were just screaming throughout the room. It's like, fuck off. I'm trying to sleep. Anyway, the next day came around and bang, first day on the farm. Well, like, yes, let's do it. Let's start. All right, this is day one of 88 days.
Yeah, we're going to do our full 3 months.
Yeah, man. I was prepared to kind of knuckle down and sort my work out. And me and Dan, we went to different farms. Dan was doing the humping and I was doing the... I forget what it's called, what I was doing. Hanging, yeah. So, Dan, do you want to tell your side of the story first?
Right, humping. here's the thing. I was not very fit. I found out quite quickly. So humping is basically, for me personally, and this might sound dumb to someone who for some reason understands what the fuck a banana tree is. I didn't. But in my head, I never pictured just how big a bunch of bananas were at the first when they're on the tree. Okay? And they're fucking massive. Most bunches ranged somewhere in the 40 to maybe 60 kilos range. And the job with humping basically is you're out in the middle of a banana tree forest, because it's a fucking forest, in like 40-degree heat, because it's really hot summer weather in Australia. And your job is to follow around this guy with a machete who sort of makes a cut in the tree, and then the bunch comes down and you put it on your shoulder and he chops again, and then you march the bunch over to this this truck with a thing behind it, and you place it on there, and as soon as you place it down, you turn around and you go again to get the next bunch, and it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth through the forest all day, grabbing 40 to 60 kilos of bananas on your shoulders, and it sucks. And past a point, I was like throwing up, and I sort of tired as fuck and kind of dizzy, and basically I just couldn't do it. The speed of the job, the heat, the weight, like, it just fucked me up. I'm not saying this in a way to say that other people couldn't do it, because obviously they could. There's other people I'm working with that were doing it. But what I will say is, literally pick any other farm job and it will be easier. We picked the worst farm job. We picked the one that after we picked it and we told people, everyone was like, that's the worst one you can do. And we were like, is it? That sounds like something we would pick. Like, and it lived up to its name. It fucking sucked.
I think the funny thing is, when you said that you'd be humping bananas, I don't think you literally knew that you were going to get fucked by them.
Yeah. True. And I think the other thing is, apparently the farm I was working on was one where it was one of the biggest banana suppliers in Australia. So apparently the pace that they work you at is a lot faster than on the other ones. The smaller ones don't make you go as fast, because this one was so big and they pushed it out so quickly. They made you moved a lot quicker. You were like, to the machine, out, to the machine, out, to the machine, out. Like, there was no rest to this. And yeah, so I went home from it, and sort of my thoughts immediately was, that fucking sucked.
Alright, I'll just give my so obviously I was doing a bit of a different job. I was doing the hanging, and people would probably think, oh, that's not as bad as the humping. But the thing is that you have to know about my farm is that it wasn't normal hanging, because normally you get like a chain, and you have a button. What you do is wrap the chain around the bananas and press the button, and it lifts it up and sorted. My farm wasn't like that. My farm, they bought the bananas in with the truck, maybe about 40 or 50 different bunches of bananas, again, ranging 40, 60 kilos, maybe even more sometimes. And I had to lift them over my shoulder, then have them in one arm whilst literally above my shoulder, because I had a rope that I had to it was like a noose, and I had to basically lynch the freaking bananas onto this rope and like drop them down. And I had to do that all day, 10 hours of just the same thing. My back by the end of it was fucked, man. Honestly, like, I couldn't really walk properly. I was walking like an old man. And My legs were fucked. I was covered in rat piss because they have this like plastic bag that they put over the bananas to protect them, but the rats climb in them and just piss everywhere. So I'm like, these bananas are maybe like 7 foot in the air, and I'm like ripping these plastic sheets off of them, and I'm just getting piss falling all over my face. And I know some people might enjoy that, but I don't really enjoy getting pissed on, to be honest. uh,
I think that the other thing that can be said, at least, so when you're doing this job, it's a different kind of dirt that attaches itself to you. It's you're covered. You're
really
covered
weird.
in this thick,
Just
thick
black,
mud, and literally,
it doesn't come off.
I'd shower 2 or 3 times, and I'd still have the markings
Yeah.
of the mud on my skin.
Yeah.
Like,
one of the boys at the farm mentioned to get a nail file, like a nail brush, and you literally have to scrub your skin until it's raw red just to get this black stuff off. But yeah, anyway, I finished my day of work and I checked my phone, and I just had a few messages from Dan saying my job was fucking shit. And I was like, I'll talk to you when I get home, because we're on different farms. I got home and me and Dan were just like, do you want to take a trip to to get some food? And basically, as soon as we got maybe like 20 meters away from the hostel, we were just both like, nah, fuck this, man. Like, this is really shit. This is honestly bullshit. And
it was funny because I remember, so obviously at this stage, Jordan financially is in a bit of a worse position. So I remember saying to him, it's like, fuck this, I'm not doing this. And Jordan was in more of a position of, mate, I have to do this. I've got no other option. I
was saying to him, let's just stay for a week so I can get paid, and then we'll go somewhere else.
So I was just like, mate, I'm not staying for a week to do this. This is just like, this is me torturing my body for no reason, in a way. Which, you know what, to people who are listening who have maybe done banana farm work and saw it through, good on you. Like, you know,
good job.
I'm impressed that you done it, and that's amazing. But if any of you say it's not a bad job, you're lying in some kind of a way. Like, I'm sorry.
Even the boys that were doing it were saying it was shit.
Yeah. But anyway, so basically I just say to Jordan, look, I'll pay for us to get back to Melbourne, and then the first week at the hostel, and you just find a job back there. And Jordan's like,
mate, as soon as I heard him say that, I was like, fuck yes, let's leave. Let's go.
Yeah. So here's the deal, right? So getting to the point of the story, now we book our tickets, and we realise... Hang on.
I was going to say, firstly, the way that we booked our tickets, we tried to find a little silent area of the hostel that we could sneakily book our tickets to get
people
on
came
the plane.
and sat with us to talk to us.
And like there was some guys and they were like, oh, are you going to work tomorrow? And we're just like, yeah, no, we'll be at work tomorrow. It wasn't too bad. It was all right. Meanwhile, we're booking flights to fuck off the next day on our phone.
But basically, so we book a night bus, like really, really early morning bus. And
like 3 o'clock in the morning.
The reason is we've heard what these people have said about these 2 girls that left the day after, and we're doing the same. And basically, we think to ourselves, don't really want to put up with people saying anything when we don't go. So
we would have been shunned.
We make this plan to run away in the middle of the night. So we set our alarms really early in the morning, really, really early, like 3:30 in the morning, because the bus is going to take us at 4. And we go to bed and we pack up our bags slyly in the back the night before, so it's all done. And I remember my alarm sort of, because I don't really manage to sleep, but I sleep a little bit and my alarm goes off. And I just turn it off really fucking fast because I don't want anyone else in the room waking up. And I just remember when I woke up at first, feeling the excruciating pain throughout my body from all of the humping the day before. And I'm like, my whole body's been on this incredible workout and it's sore as fuck. So I jumped down. The pain in my legs from jumping down is ridiculous. And I quickly sneak over. I just grab my backpack, put it on, excruciating because now I've got a fuck ton of weight on my broken body, and I bolt out the door, and
He
I
doesn't
just
even wait for me.
because I'm not getting caught, and also Jordan doesn't move, so I'm thinking Jordan might not even get up. I know he's a sleeper, but like I just sort of I run, I say run, I sort of jog with my backpack through. And then I remember going past sort of the main office place, and I'm kind of like, don't let him be there. So I run out of the hostel, make a right, go down to this corner that's on the main road, and hide round the corner. And then when I get there to wait for Jordan, it just so happens to be by a garden with a dog, and this dog just starts going mental woofing. And I'm just stood there like, shut the fuck up. I'm doing an escape.
It's because the thing is, you're just expecting like the owner of the hostel to like drive down the road and like catch us and be like, get back to the hostel.
I think I'm doing Mission Impossible here, guys.
Yeah.
Right?
The funny thing is, we could leave whenever we want. No one would say anything, but we just felt like we couldn't. We felt like we were trapped and we were escaping.
I'm here now, hidden by this dog that's barking at me, and I'm just ringing Jordan repeatedly, just like, he better wake up, otherwise he's getting left.
Yeah, and I did wake up. Because the thing is, Dan woke up early. I woke up on the time we were supposed to wake up and leave. And I get up and I see Dan's already gone. And I'm thinking to myself, oh fuck, have I missed the bus? And then I get up, look at my phone. I've got like 5 missed calls from Dan from like 10 minutes ago. So I'm just like, oh shit, I hope he's still there. I jump out of bed, put my shit on, and do exactly the same thing as Dan. And I get out of that hostel so quick. But I'm like peering around all the corners, knowing full well that no one's actually going to be there.
I was being sly in case anyone, like, the main reason I wanted to escape quick was just in case someone else, like just a normal person on the farm, another traveller woke up and needed to go for a piss or something. I'm like, don't catch me.
It's like we're like scampering around like fucking Mission Impossible. And then I eventually get out of the bounds of the hostel, and then so I think, all right, I'll ring Dan. And then like I see this dude stand at the end of the street as well, and I'm like on the phone. I'm like, Dan, is that you over there? And he's like, yeah, I'm by the van. So I'm like fucking legging it down the road again. I've got like my backpack on, and then like my body is broken, man. And then I eventually catch up with Dan, and we just have like this overjoyed look on our face, like we've managed to escape. We're like, yes, we're free.
So we walked down the road to the bus stop, and another funny part of the story, actually, we're there and there's this other guy there, and like we don't speak to the guy, it's just another guy who's there, and sort of we get on the bus that takes us through, and we find out when we get to the other side that he's also running away in the middle of the night from his banana farm, and he's doing the exact same shit as us. And he's just doing it from a different hostel, but he's doing the exact same thing we are. And it's like, oh, so this is a normal thing that people do. Like,
they must make so much money off of people who go there and then
I run away in the middle of the night, and the boss has my number. So, like, obviously, when it's time to go to work, we get to Cairns, and this guy's just ringing me on repeat, ringing me, and I'm ignoring the calls. And then eventually, I'm just like, oh, fuck this. So I just message him. I'm just like, sorry, he left, not for me. And then I blocked his number.
Yeah. He kept ringing me, but I'm the kind of guy who just doesn't give a fuck, and I just like put the phone down and just like, screw him. I didn't bother to message him.
But yeah, so after this, we obviously get on the flight and return to Melbourne, and we'll pick up next episode with that Melbourne part 2 on what happened after. But yeah, it was quite a funny, brief, quick experience.
Yeah. It was
everyone, but by this stage, everyone that we'd met in Australia knew us so well that when we got back, they were just like, oh, this is such a
everyone just kind of laughed at us like, oh, fucking typical Jordan and Dan.
Yeah. What can we say?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think we'll leave it there for now, man. Like we'll definitely pick it up again in Melbourne part 2. Kind of the homecoming, the return of Jordan and Dan. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, it was like we said. We went back for another 3 months yeah, we'll pick up next time. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. Yeah, if you wanna keep listening to us, then please subscribe and make sure you follow along. And yeah, until next time, bye.
Peace.